world gone insane. An upside-down civilization that cannot be real. A world of madness and terror.
It's the Dana Gould Hour.
Oh, I'm sorry. Have you been waiting? Apologies all around for the delay between podcast episodes. Mea culpa. The summer has been a supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. I'm not gonna lie. Life, as they say, is a two-sided coin. No one has actually said that yet, but they will in the future, when 90% of our language has devolved into coin analogies. Where have I been since our last show? For one thing, I've been filming Frank Darabont's new TV series, Lost Angels. Premiering on TNT, I think, this December. Lost Angels reunites Frank Darabont with The Walking Dead's John Bernthal and Jeff DeMunn. The cast also includes Neil McDonough from Justified, Ed Burns, Milo Ventimiglia, Alexa Davalos, and a host of others, including myself. And it tells the story of the outright war between the LAPD and the Mafia in post-World War II Los Angeles. It's cops and robbers, gangsters and guns, dames and detectives, and it is hands down the coolest goddamn thing I have ever been involved with, and I could not be prouder or more excited about it. It did, however, take up a lot of time. So instead of just slapping together a couple of half-assed episodes, I waited until I could do it right, and now I have, and here we are. Additionally, I might as well tell you this as it comes up in the show, the crap part of the summer was, well, I don't want to come right out and say it, but it rhymes with, I blot blivorced. Mrs. Gould and I have amicably parted. And so the summer was also spent shopping for a house, grinding my teeth, buying a house, punching my hand, moving into a house, punching my teeth. But I am happy to say that all parties are at peace, everyone has adapted, life is moving on in a slightly different shape, but all is well, so back to work. Live dates for me? Yes. Coming up in September, Matt Bronger and I will embark on our Bukkake of Smiles tour, hitting the Bell House in Brooklyn, New York on September 12th, and the Great Scott in Boston, Massachusetts on September 13th. You can get ticket information on the live performances page of danagould.com. Then Matt and I go our separate ways, and I head into America's heartland to play the Comedy Attic in Bloomington, Indiana, from September 19th to the 21st. Also, my new special entitled I Know It's Wrong will be released very soon, so stay tuned for info. But let's get this show on the road, shall we? Today I am joined by the lovely and talented April Richardson. You can enjoy her comedic stylings on Chelsea Lately, as well as on the Twitter at Apey, A-P-E-Y. Matt Weinhold from ComedyFilmNerds.com is here, at Matt Weinhold, W-E-I-N-H-O-L-D, on the Twitter. And a trio of podcasting superstars, the always delightful Janet Varney from the JV Club, Jonah Ray of Jonah Radio, and Greg Behrendt, one half of Walking the Room. They're all here. Well, they're not here. They're... Where are they? They're here. I am joined today by waitress, comedienne, April Richardson.
This is the sound of my voice.
And man writer, man comedian, Matthew Weinhold.
This is the sound of my voice.
Now, I was listening to Janet Varney's very excellent podcast, The JV Club.
Yes.
And I heard you, April, say something that I thought was so great. And then I thought, God, I wish she had said that on my podcast. And then I thought, why don't I just steal this from Janet? There's no law. So here's my question, April.
Okay.
Tell me 3 things you're afraid of.
Okay, I knew this is where I was going. Okay, the top 3, I'll go in reverse order. Number 3 is abandoned construction equipment. I'm totally serious. And these sound like fakey, like, look at how eccentric I am. Totally serious. Abandoned construction equipment. Number 2 is underwater, just general underwater.
The concept of underwater.
The concept of it, the things that live there,
I can see
the
that.
nothingness of it, the fact that to me it's like space but on the ground, like it's terrifying. And number 1, with a bullet, literally, is Civil War ghosts. I grew up in the South. I grew up in Georgia, like really close to actual Civil War battlefields. Where
So if a Civil War ghost drove an abandoned load lifter into a bay...
Well, then it's not abandoned, first of all. The abandoned thing came from... Well, there was always like construction...
By the way, every single fear covered... every single one of your fears covered profoundly on Scooby-Doo.
Listen, I could attempt to explain them. The abandoned construction equipment, there was a lot of construction around where I grew up. And so it was that and a combination of like seeing Christine when I was really young. So I thought so it was like the extra, like it's already scary if a semi truck starts up and like drives
that's so
after
funny.
you.
How old were you when you saw Christine?
Way too young. Like probably, like 6 or 7 or something.
Oh, that's because I saw it when I was in high school. But I guess.
Also, because my parents didn't have cable.
It's like doing a show with a mummy.
I'm not that much younger than you. But yeah, I saw
I'm
it.
76.
Oh, okay, then maybe
He has a
I
lazy
am.
jaw.
But it was a combination of that. Like it was the concept of a crane like starting up on its own and coming after
well, they
me.
look.
You have
not
no defense
unlike,
against
they
that.
They look not unlike dinosaurs.
Yes.
Right.
Or as Steven Spielberg says, dinosaurs.
Also, there was
Must
a
he
movie.
ruin everything?
There was a movie when I was little called
Yes.
The Quest that Henry
Quest?
Thomas was in. And it was about how I don't remember the plot, but I do remember him always riding his bike furiously to this lake, and it would start to bubble, and he'd freak out and ride away. And then one day he went, and they had drained the lake, and there was like this giant scary crane in it. And so that was another thing where I'm like, crane underwater.
I've got the movie for you. The movie that will apparently it will scare you more than anything.
Okay.
It's called Killdozer.
No, thank you. I already can
Also,
tell.
the name of a great band from Minneapolis, and their first album was called Burl, and the cover was a photo of Burl Ives.
What, really?
Are you
Yes.
afraid of Burl Ives?
I have no
If he's
opinion on
underwater.
Burl Ives.
I don't care. Nor does Jimmy Crackhorn.
Well, the thing about underwater, that is like, I don't like to swim in things I can't see the bottom of.
No, that's creepy.
It's super creepy.
Yeah.
And the ocean, the concept of like, the fact that there's something on this earth that, and that has vast amounts of it, human beings will never see or experience or know what's going on there. It blows my mind to pieces. Can't handle it at all. And just the fact, too, that
You're talking about Louis Anderson.
That's how he relaxes. He just sits at the bottom of a pool.
that, and then also the fact that, like, nature, everything about the ocean tells you that it doesn't want you there. Like, the deeper, and I've said this before, too, but it's like the deeper you get in the ocean, the more you see that the things that live there, the things they had to do in order to survive. Like, the deeper you go, the more fish and whatever have, like, lasers and chainsaws on their heads. That, like, you know what I'm saying? Where they're like, I had to do this to live here. You shouldn't be here.
Oh, I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, like, we don't belong there.
The deeper the part of the ocean, the more bizarre the fish are because they have adapted to their
that's
environment.
the kind of crazy
to exist
shit
there.
they have to do.
Not unlike the Great Humongous and the Road Warrior. That's what they had to do to survive. Sometimes
Yes.
the desert is so brutal and unforgiving that you have
Exactly.
to wear a hockey mask and
Yes.
keep a transvestite on a dog leash.
It's just what you have to do
To
in order
paraphrase
to
you,
survive.
if you know how to live right.
Yeah. So I hate that. It's totally terrifying. And also, too, even when you try to, like, say you go in the ocean and you're like, let's check this out, and you change your mind and you try to get out of there real quick, you get the bends. It's like, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. The
That's
ocean
true.
does not fuck around. It doesn't want you there. It's ruthless. Get out of it. That's what it's saying.
That's
at
true.
all
That's how I
times.
feel about the Comedy Store. I once felt bad because I had no blog, and then I met a man who had no podcast.
Oh, say it isn't so.
My guests today are star of the podcast Jonah Radio, Jonah Ray.
Hello, my name is Jonah Ray. This is the sound of my voice.
Star of the podcast The JV Club, Varney.
this is the sound of my voice with a French accent.
Co-star of the podcast Walking the Room.
No
Greg
star.
Behrendt.
No star. Definitely
Star of the
star. Definitely star. Yeah, this is Greg Behrendt. This is the sound of my voice.
Funny story about this building. This
Yeah.
is not only where Roddy McDowell had his movie parties.
This is also where he podcasted.
This is also where I slept the night my marriage ended. Okay, let's do this.
Hey.
You know that pool is filled with Dana's tears.
That's all,
And Sal Minio's jism. We
I
took
thought
some,
you were saying salmon, like crunchy salmon O's.
Because you can get the regular size O's or the mini O's.
That's right.
The
And he's-
Sal
Yeah.
Mini
The salmon O's. The thing is great about them. They're pink. and they
Kids
look
love
delicious.
Sal Minios.
yeah.
The only salmon cereal around.
I
The
like
official breakfast cereal of West Hollywood Sports Connection.
Omega-6, my God, these are good.
Yeah, they're good. I like honey nut salminios. I like a little flavor.
Take them in your mouth.
As it ebbed.
No.
There's comics starting podcasts every day. Like
But are
another
people
one.
caring as much as they cared initially?
Podcasts are to comedy what bukakis are to sadness.
I enjoy the process of going over to someone's house in the middle of the day to do comedy more than like going out at night into a
I
club or a.
couldn't
Oh my God!
agree
I know.
more.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm doing 3 of these in the next couple of days. They're
Couldn't agree
all
more.
of them are Dana's, but but I like when I have a set to do at night. I have a weird kind of stomachache during the day. Like I'm like, I don't really want to go out like that.
Thank you. This is why I never got into
But-
stand-up. You're finally realizing.
But this morning at breakfast, I was like, "Oh, I'm going to Dana's today." Oh no, Jen, that's going to be great. Like I
Right.
was like, "This is you're right." I
Yeah,
look
you know
forward
what it
to
is?
this.
Yeah.
It's like when Brian Wilson stopped touring and let the band go tour, and then he just stayed at home, went to Western Studios, and mapped out Pet Sounds. It's a lot more fun to do it from home, and I love the idea that I can think of something, come out here and record it, and then it will go out to more people than I would if I was going away.
To
from-
laughs in Seattle and sitting in
or
a hotel that's
Uncle
just by the
Fucker's-
highway.
Yeah, Uncle Fucker's Chuckle Hutch.
Yeah,
I'm
it'll,
But
it'll change.
But there is there's nothing. There's also a feeling of getting off stage after you do like an hour, and you think, well, that's about as good as I can do that. And they saw something cool tonight.
And people laughed. I mean, obviously, we have each other to respond and laugh, but it's
Yeah.
different when you have somebody who's not
There is an energy
who's
that
there
you,
with their friends.
There's
Having
an
said
energy
that
you
again, I
take
will
from the
never
audience.
do stand-up.
But you do improv. You perform
Yeah,
live.
do
You know what it's
live
like.
Stuff.
I don't. You know what? I don't get even that big a thrill out of getting laughs anymore. It's like the guy that has to just beat the hooker with a wrench at the end just so he can kind of smile. I keep thinking this time I'm going to go do stand up. It's going to go well. I'm going to want to do it more. And then I drive home and I think about the band or this or many other things.
Yeah,
Sweaters.
I think that a lot. Like I've been quitting stand up the day I started. Like,
Have you?
Every show I do, I go, that was great. I'm not very good. I'm gonna quit. And then someone's like, do you want to do the show? I go, yeah.
So, Jonah, would you say stand up is something you do as opposed to who you are?
Yes.
Greg?
Yes.
For sure. But like, if you look at somebody like who I'll bring about, like Jack White, he's that all the time. He's music. He's not actually a person. I don't think. I'm imagining there's not much time in his life to be anything but Jack White and to be constantly in creating whatever he does. You
See,
know
what I know about Jack
Whereas-
White is 90% of the time he's tanning. Not a lot of guys can pull off the Wednesday Addams look, and he's done.
He is so Wednesday Addams. It's crazy.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
And,
like
and,
he's
and
full-
not Pugsley. Wednesday.
Yeah.
Right? No, he's Wednesday. Yeah,
I
yeah,
looked
yeah.
like Pugsley as a kid.
Yeah, no, he's
I was
Wednesday.
perfectly fat as a child. In fact, I was thinking of this the other day. I was a big fat kid, and one day I was sitting eating a sandwich, watching television, and my brother Jim looked at me and just kind of casually said, "You know, Dana, as you're sitting there eating, bacteria is being created in the dark, sweaty folds of your abundant fat."
Wow.
Why?
And I totally remember that.
Is
And
this
that
your
is why-
funniest brother?
No, not nearly. And ironically, whenever I get like a pound over my weight limit, the self-hatred is just a tsunami.
Yeah.
It's just a tsunami.
Just you can't have a limit. That's what I found. Just don't have a limit, then you never know.
How about don't have a scale? I don't have a scale. I don't know. Like I got weighed
Because you'd
at.
be too happy every time you stepped on it.
But you
I
also,
think-
Bless your heart, but no.
The solution-
and I wouldn't know.
Janet, for those of you who can't see her,
Listen.
is straddling birth weight.
Listen. Listen.
It's true. It's true.
Listen.
Well, that's supposedly haunted.
I totally believe that.
The Comedy Store haunted, and this is not like haunted. Blake Clark, who was a platoon sergeant in Vietnam, not a lightweight dude.
Yeah.
Right.
And the nicest guy on earth, greatest guy ever, swears like one night in the kitchen he saw something that really spooked him.
Oh, I've
'Cause
heard multiple people say that.
It used to be Ciro's, which was a mob hangout, and a lot of people with debts to non-licensed banks
Sure. Banks,
went into the Ciro's to talk about their debts and were carried out.
I think I also read too that upstairs that like illegal abortions were performed and stuff, like all
No, that's
kinds
now.
of. Oh, okay.
It's a belly
that's
room.
now, and that's
That's why it's called the belly room,
yeah.
where careers go to die.
That's how I got the name. Yeah,
It's
I read
very
about-
alternative.
The microphone comes out of your navel.
Right. I did read a lot of shady stuff went down there, and even just the few times I've been, even in like the dark hallway or something, I'll be like, this is not a place I want to be hanging out.
There's a funny, and all the bathroom fixtures in the Comedy Store, for people that have never been there, everything is black.
Yeah.
And this is based on no proof whatsoever, but I assume that was done in the mid-'70s to make it easier to see your cocaine.
Did they factor that into design choices
I'm sure.
at places?
I did stand up in the 80s, in the 80s boom when
The
I was...
boom of both comedy and cocaine.
Yeah, and I saw so much cocaine done.
Right.
I, who have, oddly enough, never done it. It was like people drinking a Diet Coke. It was
Right.
just... I worked at a place in Boston called Nick's Comedy Stop, which was purportedly run by the mafia, to the point that it had earned the nickname the Bulletproof Lounge.
Wow.
And I worked there with Sam Kinison, and literally I just saw Sam Kinison do like 2 10-inch rails of coke.
Jeez.
Get up, go to the bathroom, throw up, come back in, say, if you don't throw up, you're doing it wrong. Get introduced, go on stage, kill for an hour and a half.
Right.
Get off.
Okay, hold on, back up. So part of the appeal is throwing up? If you don't throw up, you're doing
that's
it
a
wrong?
certain
I don't
type
know.
of-
I don't know. We're
That's a
out
certain
of my...
type of addict.
Yeah, that's a
Okay.
certain type of addictive behavior.
Well, I've also never done it either, so I just wanted to make sure I knew everything I was missing out on.
Yeah. Have you ever done it, Matt? Yes, you have.
Yeah, I have. I got to bring my funny lines to the podcast. I have indentations in the roof of my car where I just put a line in and do it. But yeah, I've done it, and it's.
But you've never had a drug problem. I've known you for a long time.
No, I mean, my thing with that
You
is
have
that
problems.
I have
But
yeah,
not
no,
Oh,
the drug
boy.
Yeah. My problem is me.
Sure. I understand.
Yeah, I snort anxiety every morning. But
My mutual, many relationships that I have flourished on our mutual hatred of me.
oh, we need to talk some more.
Here, I thought we'd exhausted it.
But coke is one of those things that, like, I would always do it in situations where it was not a good time, and so I would constantly have this sort of like Clockwork Orange type Ludovico technique,
Right.
telling me not to do it. So, like, we'd go to some house and, this guy's going to get us some coke. And then all of a sudden I find out that this guy in the other room wants to seduce me. And I'm like, okay, I got to go. Yeah. So, and also I don't, it's not a high I ever really, really enjoyed. Like, a lot of people do it and then they want to go back and do it again. Yeah.
Do you remember? I don't know her name. You and I, Matt Weinhold and I, were at a party in San Francisco on the stairs talking to this girl that was a waitress at the Improv
Oh, yes.
that I was kind of hanging out with.
Uh-huh.
And she kept saying, you two should make out.
Yeah.
And we laughed in her face, and she got so offended.
What?
This woman I was hanging out with wanted me and Matt to kiss. I'm like, no, absolutely
She got
not.
offended?
Yeah.
She got like really huffy about it. Like, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, I don't
Why
want
don't
to
you go-
French a dude.
Yeah, why don't you go make out with a tire? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just-
And you
that's
know
something I
what?
wanna
You're
do.
going to regret it once it happens.
Right.
When you watch that happen, you're like,
Yeah.
it was better in my head.
Yeah.
Right.
It was better in my head.
Imagine splitting a grizzly bear's head in half and then folding it out at the snout so it's making out with itself. That's what you're going to see.
The last time I went to my shrink, somehow it became a thing out of nowhere. I've been going to her for like 2 years. It became a thing where now they suddenly take the blood pressure and weight of all of the people who are coming in just for a regular appointment, and they weighed me, and I always say, like, I don't want to know, because I just don't want to go down the road of, like, what does it mean? I wonder how much I usually weigh. Am I fat? What am I, like, because women be crazy, especially in Hollywood. And so...
And shopping.
Shoes.
Women
Yeah.
are shopping.
Women
Yeah.
be shopping, shoes.
Shoes, yeah.
And I went in, and I said, because I was... Listen, I'm really opening up, but like I said, I think I've probably gained some weight because of these different events, but I don't want to know. And before I could even, I was like, told me, and I got so much more upset than I expected to. Like,
Really?
because I was like, now I'm going to think about what that means, because I thought I weighed like 10 pounds less than that. So now I know what I weigh, and I would rather have not known. Like, it didn't help me. It didn't help me at all.
Yeah, it just weirds you out. I try not to look at how much I weigh. I try not to look at my, like how much money I have. Something that like I just don't want to know, and it's like, and it's scary. Then it's in my head all the time. I'm just like, there's a fewer number in one, and there's a bigger number in the other, and it's the wrong way around.
For the same reason, I have no idea how many listeners I have, and never look at it. I feel that someone will say to me, "We're kicking you off of this network. You don't have enough listeners." But other than that, I really don't want to know.
Ironically, just today, in the Los Angeles Times, I had a little blurb that basically said this. You know, he should be famous. He's not. He's good, though.
That's what it said in the LA Times?
About you?
Essentially, yeah.
But you can say this to the LA Times. Well, that should be a paper that people read, but they don't.
Well, it's like two things.
well
If
done.
I'm famous for not being famous, I'm kind of famous. And two, what does it matter? Supertramp sold so many more records than Tom Waits. But
Right.
Tom Waits, it's better to be Tom Waits.
Yeah.
You can only do what you do.
You know, it's funny. We just had Rick Moranis on Nerdist, and there was something like he says like Rick Moranis was saying he'll run into Geddy Lee sometimes, and Geddy Lee, from Rush will say,
Because they're both Canadian.
yeah, but Geddy Lee sang on a.
And do they run into each other in Canada?
No,
I feel like Canada's just a giant hallway.
It's just one hallway,
And
of all
people just sort of
Canadians
run
that have
into
ever done anything.
Yeah.
But
Look, it's Bryan Adams.
but he said it's like
And everybody's a friend of Gordie Howe. I know Gordie Howe.
I know Gordie Howe.
But what he said is that like that song that he helped out with the Bob and Doug McKenzie record, like the song he's on, is the only time that he's ever been like on the charts, like at number one.
Great White North.
Yeah, and like
Really?
it's like, and he's in Rush. More
Right.
people know. Yeah,
That's crazy.
Tom Sawyer was not a big hit for them?
No, not number one.
But
Not
it's
even top
also
10.
about perspective, because years ago when you two were doing their whatever the Lemon tour was, they were.
Was that the one where they were really silly?
Yes,
I'm
they
kidding.
they were doing really they were like at the height of their popularity, and they were doing the pop tour, and Rush had sold out a bigger stadium across town 3 nights in a row, and were not mentioned in the like. It's
Sure.
all about what people decide is important and not
Right.
interesting.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Here's the name of a bad actor, Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah.
He indicates he's a face actor. You never think he's thinking the thoughts of his character. At least I don't.
Yep.
He's not a great actor.
So many of those, though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
True.
But he's good looking.
It doesn't matter. It's
in a
all
wide-face kind of way.
It's all, and it's neither good nor bad. It's just proof of communication. Who do you?
I'd like to see some act offs. I'd like to see I'd like to see an act off. Like I'd like to see, like we talked about last week. Dave and I were talking about the difference between the mild difference between Bradley Cooper, who's a fine actor, not a great actor, but a fine actor, and then Ryan Gosling. Like he goes, because in the movie that they're in, there's like 2 stories, and Cooper's story comes after Gosling's, and he goes, he can't follow Gosling.
No, he can't. He's an amazing actor.
He can't follow.
He ate a pie at that picnic table.
Who did?
Ryan Gosling.
Ate a
The
pie at what
entire
picnic
pie?
table
That
out
must
there?
have been the fucking hottest pie.
God damn it!
It was crazy.
How many people stood around and just jerked off?
I was a lot.
Don't feel that way about him at all.
I
I
came
love
back.
him.
I was in
Woman.
Boston.
I think he's a great actor, but
Flew-
I'm not attracted to him.
I was in Boston. I flew back from Boston. I get in the house. I look like a 4 pounds of crap in a 3-pound bag. And every nanny we've ever had is standing in our kitchen staring out into our backyard. And I look, and there's Ryan Gosling and my wife at the picnic table eating a pie. And I guess he wanted to have a meeting at a restaurant, so he lives nearby. And so she said, just come over. And he made her a pie. And I walked out.
What a guy!
And then I went up. Yeah, exactly. Sugared his own crust. But then when I went out, she introduced me to him. I said, "Hey, how you doing? Good, good, good." And she goes, "Well, I made a pie." I looked at it, and I just went, "It's kind of gay." And
what did he say?
He laughed. He's like, "Well, I'm an actor," and so it was great. And I was like,
Nice.
"Oh, it was good." And then we ended up.
He said the right thing.
Charm. Of course.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he said the right thing.
I love
and
it.
but he said a really interesting thing, and this is why I think he's a really great actor. In Drive, at the end of the movie, that long monologue that belonged to Albert Brooks, it was his, and he wanted to talk as little as possible.
Yes.
And he gave it to Albert, and then Albert rewrote it, but it was like, yeah, you don't need to talk. You can be very still and say a lot, and you don't even, have you ever seen Acting in Film, the Michael Caine documentary?
No.
It's amazing. When I have a great emotional scene, the first thing I do is I think of nothing, and I just have a blank face. Well, the famous Greta Garbo story. Well, there's a very get your pillows and blankets, everybody. This is going to put you to sleep.
Yeah.
In 1929, a Russian director, a woman named not Kalashnikov, but something like that, did an experiment, filmed a woman looking at the floor, and then intercut with the woman looking at the floor a pie, and showed it to people, and they thought, my God, she looks so hungry. She's such a great actress. And then they showed her they intercut it with a casket. That, oh, she's so sad. She's such a great actress. And then they cut it with a child. And, oh, she loves her child. She's such a great actress.
Wow. Because
the camera photographs you. The camera is a machine that photographs you thinking. And people will project what they think you're thinking onto you.
You're sounding dangerously close to David Mamet's book, which totally pissed me off.
Here's how good Ryan Gosling is. There's only one line of dialogue in the trailer for his new movie, and he just walks up to somebody and goes, "Do you want to fight?" And that's it. It's fucking awesome. That's all you need to see to know you want to go to the movie. Whereas if Bradley Cooper said that, I go, I don't know, Brad. I need to hear more.
He looks a little.
I like Bradley Cooper, by the way. Obviously, he doesn't need my wife's approval because he's doing fine in the lady department. But you'll get an Esquire or something, and they'll be allowed. She goes, "What? How is this? How are people loving that? How are they thinking that's hot?" Bradley Cooper.
Yeah. You're just sold that you love it. There's an interesting thing that people do when there's nothing else to write about.
Yeah.
When there's nothing that makes let's say I'll use an actress. When there's nothing that makes an actress particularly interesting in any other way, they always go back to, is Penelope Cruz the most beautiful human being alive? And then, I don't know, 3 weeks ago it was Gretchen Mol. No, she's the only person you can see from space. She's just that beautiful. No, it's just like you've nothing else to say.
Right.
She actually looks like anybody at the mall. She would be the hottest chick at Okie Dog. Vin Diesel, they thought he was going to be Sylvester Stallone. Like he did he did Saving Private Ryan,
right.
And then he did Fast and Furious, and so he was like, Vin Diesel's the guy. And they thought he was going to be the next Sylvester Stallone because they need the next Sylvester Stallone. They need somebody to star in movies to sell.
He's not Vin Diesel anymore. They have to put The Rock in his movie.
Right, well,
The Rock is
The Rock is Vin Diesel. At the minimum, he should have been that guy, like
Yeah,
that
but
big, funny,
but he's
bald.
not funny.
Well, that's it.
Yeah.
He's which arguably on some level, Sylvester Stallone was kind of funny. Bruce Willis was kind of funny. There was something.
It works, or it
worked.
It works, or it doesn't. It's utterly capricious.
It is.
It's utterly.
It really
capricious.
is.
The
Rock is in every. If he's not in every movie, he's in every movie poster happening this summer.
Yeah.
There isn't a poster where you don't go, there's The Rock again.
Yeah, and you get happy when you see him.
He has a sincerity that Vin Diesel doesn't have. He's sort of willing to do whatever, and he's earnest.
There is a humility to him too. There's a little bit of like there is a shade of like, how did I get here? I don't know, but it's pretty great.
Yeah.
Whereas Vin Diesel's like, yeah, I'm here.
Well, I think it's
That's
just
right.
he
should
came
be
from
higher.
wrestling. He came from like a ridiculous background.
I know that the Fast and Furious movies are male fantasies, but now the actors actually have to look like penises.
Yes.
If you look at the poster, it looks like 6 angry penises driving cars made of guns.
Yep.
Yeah.
I get it. In the next movie, they've already said they're going to have giant balls for feet.
But there's something. There is something kind of like I like the audacity that they're on 6. Like I like the fact that like. I didn't. I watched the first one. I went to the second one. I stopped. I didn't see the third or the fourth, and then I came back for the. They drove the last one when they were driving the big when they were driving the vault. What are they called?
I've never seen
driving the
one
vault.
of them.
They're driving a hardware store
no.
through a gauntlet of big box superstores.
They yanked the money thing that holds the money.
Armored
The safe,
car?
the giant safes.
This is also how these movies were pitched. Just
Yeah.
Greg Bear going, and then they got the thing, and
The
then
guy,
they punch it.
it makes a sound, and then a guy goes through a thing.
Greg, you had me at let's make another one.
Welcome to Political Talk with two guys from Boston, a working man's look at the socio-political issues of our day. And now, Political Talk with two guys from Boston.
This is Political Talk with two guys from Boston. I'm Johnny Condon.
Yeah, and I'm Robbie Sullivan.
Brought to you by Bevilacqua Heating and Air Conditioning.
We're cool if you're cool.
Two guys from Boston taking on the political and social stories that are extant to today's modern scene.
Yeah, I love that word, extant.
Extant. That's
Yeah.
my word of the year.
I like that.
It has been a shitstorm this summer.
Oh, boy, I'll tell you.
From Trayvon to the other stuff.
Yeah, to everyone else.
Here's how I look at that trial.
Yeah.
In any major crime,
Yeah.
if it was a western town and High Plains Drifter was coming to
I
town,
didn't even think of that.
who would he be angry at?
Yeah.
The kid coming home from the general store?
Yeah. Yeah, or the guy who shot him in the back.
Yeah, the guy who started a fist fight that he started to lose,
Yeah.
so he shot him in the chest.
Me.
I don't really think he was going to beat him to death.
The young kid with the
Yeah.
hoodie.
Even if he could, they say, and he was on marijuana. Well,
Yeah.
now I know he's not going to kill
Yeah,
anybody.
he was thinking about those Skittles in his pocket.
You know what marijuana is not famous for doing? Firing up your get up and go.
Yeah, you don't go, hey, let's burn one and then go take out these people.
No, he was banging him against the concrete to see
Yeah.
if he had any Nico wafers in his pockets.
Yeah, five bong hits in, and the guy's going, what snacks do they have on them?
That's what, it's always, you look at these situations, same with OJ, there's always who would be the villain in an episode of Kung Fu.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
You know, I think would be Zimmerman.
Zimmerman.
Yeah, he'd be the villain.
There is always, when you watch Kung Fu, if you remember, at the beginning of every episode, there would be a quiz. Kwai Chang Caine, played by David Carradine,
Yeah.
comes to town. A man of peace.
Very quiet.
Barefoot.
A little bit of a ponytail.
Playing a homemade flute.
Yeah, like a cat who had his tail cut off.
Exactly. And he would, in the first scene of the show, encounter two people, one of whom he was going to defend,
Yeah.
and one of whom was going to get his ass kicked.
This is the episode.
And it was usually a very subtle decision. Who is it going to be?
Yeah.
The guitar-playing nun or the evil carnival owner who keeps a blind kid in a bag?
I can't wait to find out.
Who will it be? Now, have you gone to where you been? Did you go down to the Cape? What's
yeah,
up?
we were down the Cape. Going over the bridge was hectic, but once you
Oh,
get
for
on
God's
once you
sakes.
get there, though, oh my God, it was really.
Once you
pretty.
get there, it's nothing but fribbles
Yeah.
and looking at people
I
with
did.
women
I
that you
also-
don't know how they met.
I went to the Cream and Cone. Oh my God, I could.
Don't go to the
Cream.
Cream and Cone in San Francisco. It's a totally different
Oh, is that
bar.
right? No, I haven't been there. But the one on the Cape is magnificent. It's magical. I've been going there since I
It's
was
near
a kid.
the Egg and I.
Yeah, they got the real clam bellies. Mm-hmm. You can tartar sauce and the whole deal. It's unbelievable. But it was real nice.
Put
and,
your dick in the dirt.
and I did get a fribble.
Of course.
My dad once said it's nectar of the gods, a fribble.
My dad once, true story, and I have to tell it like my father.
Yeah,
I have
please.
to do it in my father's voice
Yeah, let me hear
to
it.
tell the story. It is why he will never again eat at KFC,
Oh, good
which
for
was
him.
then known as Kentucky Fried Chicken.
They were still allowed to say it. This was before
Yes.
the featherless bird stuff. Okay.
So the voice of my father, Big Ed Condon. Oh, Jesus Christ. I had to drive down the Cape, and I was starving. I was in Boston, so I had a quick box of KFC. I had like 4 pieces and a biscuit. And I get on the 93 South, and it's a Friday, and it's June, and it's just all backed up. And the minute I get into traffic, I get the cramps. I got to go so bad. I'm rolling down the window. I get my foot up on the dashboard. I got my pants half undone. It was horrible. So first exit I got off to, I pull into the Friendlies. And I go, where's your toilet? And they go, you got to buy something. I go, give me a fucking fribble. I throw a $5 on the counter. I run to the bathroom. Oh, my God. It was god-awful. I walked out. There's your fribbles. I was out the door before we got to the word sir. I was in my car. I get back on the 32 seconds back in traffic. I get the cramps again. I got to pull off. I run into a Getty station. Where's that? I go into that men's room. It looks like a crime scene. Looks like somebody cut up the black fucking dahlia in the goddamn toilet. I shit my way down the 93. Every exit.
Oh, dear.
Oh, by the end, I had nothing left of me. I looked like I was about 200 years old.
Oh, sir.
I looked like
so
the guy.
sorry.
Oh, never again. Kentucky Fried Diarrhea. That's it. You can
I'm
have it.
telling you, yeah, you can't have it. It's
Yeah.
not good. McDonaldria either. I can't go near it.
Ugh,
It's rough.
nothing but.
It's not good
All
for
my
you.
father's good stories are about taking a shit. I'm sorry.
That's funny, though. It's nice that Dad can talk about something that people understand.
We were watching the moon landing when I was like 4 years old.
Yeah.
And the astronaut comes down the ladder and they just cut to the desolate landscape of the moon. Momentous occasion in the history of mankind. All of us is, hope he doesn't have to take a shit anytime soon.
That's funny.
And you know what? As I got
That's
older.
1968?
Nine.
Nine.
Same weekend as
1969.
Chappaquiddick.
Oh, geez.
Chappaquiddick was the second story that weekend.
Oh, my
Man
God.
lands on the moon. Teddy Kennedy lands a VW Beetle at the bottom of a lake.
They know how to mix news.
They know how
stories.
to time stuff.
Hide the news.
Oh, those Kennedys, they're so
As
clever.
I've said in many great places across this great nation of ours, many people prefer to look at who they've slept with and say, why? I prefer to look at who I haven't slept with and say, why not?
I swam down to the car and saw Mary Jo, and then my eye drifted over to the front seat where I saw the cooler. Thinking quick, I grabbed the cooler and swam to the top of the lake. Then, to my chagrin, on the beach, I discovered they were bar bottles, so I had to go back for the opener. Signaling to Mary that she would be the third trip, I tested the opener, had a few bottles, and it completely left my mind. Here's an interesting thing I learned about the astronauts, though.
Oh, yeah.
Those suits
Yeah.
have basically diapers in them.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, that- I
They're
want
like comfort garments
I want that.
because you can't, you're out in space.
Yeah.
They don't have
What
a
are you going to do?
Porto sand.
No.
But you realize, momentous occasion in the history of mankind and a great moment for men in diapers.
Yeah. Finally, there's some respect there.
Wearing a diaper.
Did it to help the world.
It's not just for grandpa anymore.
It's a new exploration of several kinds going on.
It's not just something that he wears to get through a whole Kojak. Also in the news, climate change is rearing its ugly head.
Oh, yeah. The polar caps are pissed.
It has been a summer of storms.
Yeah. They're coming through like weird.
Ugh,
Right?
it's just, we used to say that when a big thunderstorm, they used to say, the angels are bowling.
I love that.
Yeah, so we wouldn't get scared.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
nice.
No, it's true. They would say it when we were little kids, and the thunder would be really loud. They'd go, the angels are bowling. Like the idea of giant winged women throwing giant balls in the sky would calm us down.
That is so. It's soothing. And you're going, I wonder who's winning.
The angels, they've nothing better to do.
The angels are bowling, dear. Go back to bed.
Some guy's choking on a ham sandwich, and he's going to go down because his angel was trying to pull off a 7-9 split. So now it's hot.
that.
You're in Boston. It's hot. You know what I find? I have to switch underwear in the hot weather.
Oh, is that right?
I have to switch to boxer briefs
Oh, that's weird.
because my
oh,
thighs
you mean
chafe.
the type of underwear. I thought you
Yeah.
meant a couple times during the day. You
No,
were
the
switching
type.
them
I'm a
out.
boxer man.
Yeah.
But if I'm wearing in the summer, if I'm wearing shorts, cargo shorts,
Yeah.
you know me.
Yeah.
I'm fucking mad
Yeah,
for
you're
cargo
upset about
shorts.
it, yeah.
I can't have less pant but more pocket. I'm mad for cargo shorts.
look good on-
Zinc oxide. I did not care about saving lives.
You wanted
But
to
I
have the
look
white
so
on your
fucking
nose.
cool. Yeah. Look like I just made out with a mime, got a little on my nose.
Could you save someone today?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah. Sure.
Swim in and grab them.
Yeah, I could.
Me too.
Here's one thing. The great thing about the hot weather in Boston is it's very easy to spot child molesters.
Yeah, you can tell.
Anyone who tucks a shirt into shorts
Not a
is
good look.
probably a child molester.
It's not a good look. You got to check for that, folks, when you're leaving the house. Sometimes
Yeah.
it's a mistake.
You also get to know who owns a canvas belt.
Yeah.
It's usually a canvas belt.
And how many times are you going to hear this? It's not really the heat, dear. It's the humidity.
Yeah, it's a combination. Well, you get the dry heat.
Yeah.
You go down there.
It is rough.
You go down there to like Arizona.
Yeah.
Kevin Rooney, you know Kevin Rooney?
Sure, I
Rooney
love
calls
Kevin
that
Rooney.
chicken pot pie weather. You go outside, it's like checking on a chicken pot pie. You open the oven, just that blast of hot air. Bah! Yeah, I have been in such
like
heat
that.
that I thought, like, if I walk pretty fast, I might burst into flames. I got to go
oh
slow.
my gosh! When you're on I'm headed to the Cape, but I can't with my car. If I leave the AC going, I'm going to run out of gas at this particular trip. I can't pull off for gas. I'm trying to make it down there in time, and I'm looking on. I can make it if I don't pump the AC. Well, geez, now it's like I've decided to live in an oven.
Right.
And I'm literally going, yeah, it's fine. I'll be fine. I'll be fine. I'll be fine. I'm not fine.
No.
All of a sudden, I am pissed at everything. And I'm, hungry, angry, lonely, tired. If you're any one of these things, another one's going to rush in soon. I'm all of them.
It's worse.
Oh, I'm going to kill someone. By the time I get to the Rotary, I'm literally just pulling off to go to Dunkin'.
It's worse if your radiator's shot and you're going to overheat.
Geez,
and you're going to turn on the heat.
Yeah.
102 degrees and you're going to turn on the
You're going
heat.
to blast it now on you. Yeah. My
yeah.
dad's car, you'd put it was one of them old cars.
Your feet you start to smell pot roast.
Yeah.
You look down at your feet. Our advice to you, stay out of the heat.
Yeah, beat the heat. You know what to do. Get something you love and go watch a film with it.
Yeah, or you know what, a good thing to do, find a book that you like.
Yeah.
Then break a tray of ice cubes into a Ziploc bag.
Oh.
Drop it down the front of your shorts.
Wait, what?
Sit in a lawn chair and wait for the fireworks.
Oh, I can't wait for the ice to freeze.
This has been Political Talk with two guys from Boston.
We love you.
I'm Johnny Condon.
I'm Robbie Sullivan.
Get the fuck out of here.
What?
Political Talk with two guys from Boston.
Did you also get to the point in Janet's podcast where I said I was straight edge?
I did.
So,
But I'm transfixed by irrational phobias, and you really do. Your Civil War ghost phobia really
a big deal.
Struck me because I love the specificity of it.
Well, it's
The fact that you're afraid of ghosts.
Well, that's the thing is I'm not. It's a weird kind of thing. I've never seen a ghost in my life. I don't.
Until now. For April, I am dead.
But I'm seriously
I'm dead inside.
Does that count? I don't walk like
I've got a
hard
ghost
line.
of a chance of being happy.
I don't walk a hard line on that. Like I super don't. Like I like to say, I don't necessarily believe in ghosts, but I know people that I trust. And like you were saying, that guy, like a tough dude, being like, "No, I saw it." Like I know people close to me who said they've seen him, and I don't think they're liars.
Sure.
I don't have an explanation for it, so I don't walk a hard line on that. But I am super easily scared. I don't want to see any ghost. I'm not trying to hang out with any ghosts of any variety, but especially like if given the choice. I feel like if I saw a regular ghost, I'd be scared, but I'd be like, okay.
What's a regular ghost?
I mean, I don't know.
The sheet guy? Like
Ghost of a plumber.
Yeah. Exactly. Like,
Yeah.
any,
like a ghostly IT
ghost-
technician?
It doesn't even go boo. It just goes.
just not a ghost in like
This
full,
is all copper down here.
Oh, this is gonna cost you.
You have roots and you're out to the city line. Ooh.
I'm gonna need to call the office.
I'm going to have to snake the master commode.
commode. Oh my God, I haven't heard that word in forever. Like that would be scary. But if I saw a ghost in like a full Civil War uniform with, just like Abe Lincoln beard.
Could be
my
a plumber
God.
ghost going to a Halloween party. Or what if it's a plumber ghost that's into Civil War reenactments?
And also from the South, so you would be able to tell because they would be super pissed off because they lost.
That's true.
And they would be missing an
Oh,
arm.
wait a minute. So it's a rebel.
It is. It's yeah.
They're
because
all-
that's who would be on my
because you're
turf.
in Atlanta.
Oh,
Yeah.
I got it. Okay.
Well, no, Union
Yeah,
soldiers.
and I grew up
get
in
killed
Atlanta.
on it.
That was straight up burned down. Like the ghosts are the most pissed off.
Right.
They lost. They lost limbs. Like they had to have shit sawn off. This is pre any technology, so it's just like bite the rag, the whiskey soaked rag, while I saw your arm off. Who is it going to be pissed?
So if
coming
you saw,
back.
So if you saw a Union ghost, would you just
No, I would
you
be
just be
scared.
like, yeah, whatever?
I'd be scared because I feel like their demeanor, they're going to be less like angry.
Here's
obviously.
the fear, though. You bite the whiskey-soaked rag while they saw your arm off, and then the guy goes, okay, we've sawed off your right arm. You're doing this on your right arm?
And also, too, growing up, I had to go to like the Cyclorama, which is like at Stone Mountain, this museum that's all Civil War stuff, and they had glass cases with like the saws they used that still had blood on them, and they had like the uniforms where it would be like blood stained, where they sawed the arms or legs off, and then also. And yeah, my parents now live close to Kennesaw Mountain, which was like a total huge battlefield. And in Georgia, there's always those plaques that are like, hey, a ton of really angry dudes died here. Watch out for their ghosts. Like, it's all like the markers for battlefields. And they also, this is a weird thing that goes with it, is their houses too. I had some friends growing up where you could tell it was like a Civil War house if they had like a fireplace in the bedroom or what. Like, I instantly was like, this is Civil War house. I can't stay overnight here. I totally remember my high school boyfriend. He went to
as do I.
He went to school in Alabama, and I went to go visit him. He went to college in Alabama, and I went to visit him. And the house that he lived in, there was a fireplace in the bedroom. So I was like, I can't stay the night here. This is so terrifying. And
Really?
He's like, what?
Why is that?
Because it's just such a Civil
reminds
War
you of that,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah, that's not a normal
See,
thing
to
in
me,
a
it's
modern
a bed
house.
to me, it's a bed and breakfast thing.
No, it's a total...
If I see a carafe of cashews for $27,
It's a total Civil War house. But he was like, "What? You have to stay here." So I did, and then like in the middle of the night, he got up and like started marching to scare
that's
me. And he goes, "Lieutenant Commander, Civil War guy reporting for." And I screamed, and then he started laughing, and I was like, "You're the worst." But yeah, so there are just weird things like that in Georgia that you see that you're like, "Oh, this was totally like Civil War shit went down here. I gotta leave." I don't know. It just.
I found the other day in my garage the very first book I bought with my own money for pleasure. I was 9, and it was the novelization of Battle for the Planet of the Apes.
Oh.
I know you're shocked. I still have it. Oddly enough, the cover, a photo from Conquest of the Planet of the Apes.
Ooh.
We can take that up with Bantam books.
Wow.
But I still have it, and it's one of those things that...
Do we have a photo from that the other one? No.
You got a picture of an ape.
Just do
Put
it. Who cares?
Unless you're a young fat kid who looks like Pugsley, you're not going to know.
Who's going to buy it, right?
Yeah, unless...
This is a gesture. It's not a book.
Okay, those are really different movies, though. Dana's got a point. They're really different movies. They take place thousands of years apart.
No, they don't.
Battle
And Conquest?
And Conquest?
No, they both star Caesar. He's not 10,000 years old.
What are you talking about?
All right. Oh, God.
Hang
No,
on.
Battle for the Planet of the Apes takes place after Conquest of the Planet of the Apes, when Caesar is still alive and in charge of...
I messed up.
You're
The
thinking of
beginning
Beneath.
starts in the future.
Hold on,
Yeah,
you guys.
if
Hold
this
on.
was-
Hold
if
on.
this-
Hold on.
Hang on.
Let me just take off my
I was
dress.
going to say, the ladies are getting a little...
If this was a Paul Thomas Anderson movie, 8-sided die would start falling from the ceiling. The point is...
Janet is texting for a cab to come.
That's it. That's it. They come up here, right? You have cabs in Hollywood.
But the thing is, I have carried that book with me through like 11 apartments, 5 houses. It's just one of those weird things that I'm not going to get rid of. I'm just going to keep it with me. And as you go through your life, you create more and more of these things. You're like the guy in Up. There's like, I need this. I can't let go of that. And like, what is your Jonah Ray? What are the things that you have, like artifacts from your life that you still carry with you, that you still have in your apartment?
One of the oldest things I have that I still can't get rid of is a drumstick that the drummer from when I saw the Misfits in 8th grade.
Oh, that's cool.
He gave it to me. It's just this huge piece of wood that looks like a rabbit. You just chewed it, and it's just in a drawer. It's not really doing anything for me.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a memory I will still have forever.
But that's the point. But it's something that you have and you want to have around.
Yeah, and I can't get rid of it. I'm real bad. And then I always purge. I just do something like, who needs this stuff?
Yeah,
It's
me
just
too.
stuff. And then I start accumulating stuff again.
Yeah.
It's real bad. But yeah, that
Stuff.
stick is like one of the oldest things.
That George Carlin bit turned out to be so true.
Yeah, it's just stuff. Yeah. Oh, I have something that predates that. It's Simpsons Burger King dolls. Remember when this Burger King was like you could buy like dolls of the Simpsons from them? I still have those.
Oh yeah.
No, wow.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah. They're not taken care of. I don't know. That's the thing. I don't hold the stuff precious enough to take care of it. I don't, seal it.
Yeah.
I don't,
Occasionally, you'll see something on eBay that somebody has that they think is valuable. That's here's a TV guide from 1986, starting bid at $2,000.
Yeah,
It's really not. That.
They don't make laser discs anymore. These are worth $1 million.
Your grandparents would always do something.
There's a listing with Angie Dickinson in here.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's going to be worth money. Joe Don Baker was the star of the movie of the week.
Joe Don Baker. R.I.P.
All right. Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. He died a few years ago. Don't know why I'm keeping track of Joe Don Baker, but he definitely
It's easy
passed
to
away.
now.
What stage? Now we're just gauging
He's
his
staying
advancing.
I know right where he is because I have him.
Now we're just gauging his advancing putrescence. He's mostly liquefied. Janet Varney, what do you have still that you've been carrying with you?
I am kind of a big purger, as are my parents. Like
We're not talking about food. We're talking about possessions.
nonetheless, my parents, I think they sort of set the precedent where, like, when I moved from Arizona, and they've been separated and divorced for my entire life, they both at various times have, like, just arrived for a visit with like a box of things of mine that they've been like, I am definitely throwing these away if you don't want them. To the point now that there's just no trace that I ever existed in either of their homes. Like, no, like, and it's been interesting to see what makes the cuts. Like, okay, these are all your first grade report cards. I don't want these. And then like a couple years later, like, these are the cards that you wrote me for my birthday. I don't want these. Do you want them?
ooh.
Yeah, no, for reals.
I know.
And,
Ouch.
and so I don't keep a lot of stuff. I do have sort of one big box full of like just things like that. But I do have a lot of books. I mean, I do have like maybe 40 books from when I was younger that I've just not been able to let go of because they do have a lot of very fond memories.
It's hard to keep stuff when you're young and moving around on your own.
And you're a drug addict, and you sell your record collection for Coke. It's hard to have a value system for anything when you need money and you don't give a shit. And also, I collected Coke. I can't find any of it, but I know I had a bunch of cocaine at one point.
Avid collector.
Yeah, I had a lot of booze.
You can get rid of everything, but just you got to keep one CD.
I'm a terrible fan of things. I
Hey
am
man,
a
go to the pawn
terrible-
shop and see if they'll buy those birthday cards your parents gave you.
Oh my god! I'm a bad. I don't follow through with TV series. I don't remember everybody. I don't know all the songs of my favorite bands.
Were you always like that? Because I feel I am now too. But when I was in high school and I had time, or I made time, or for whatever reason it was more important, I knew more about. Or does it also have to do with the preponderance of so much media?
I
Now,
also
where
think
you
that
can't
when
do
you're
that.
in I also think that it's because when you were in high school, the things that you like so clearly help you define who you are, that it's much more valuable to you. And then as you get older, you have a preconceived notion
there's a collection
and
of
you don't need it as much.
There's a collection. I like to present. I like to peacock everything I own. I like to peacock
I thought you were saying presenting in the she baboon sense.
Yes, I do mean that. I mean peacocking. I mean, like, look at my ass. Like, this is what I've made for you to sort of feel a certain way about me. As I've gotten older, I realize I just collect the one thing and then I get rid of the rest. So I have this one belt that has studs on it. It's the only one that I like. I got rid of all my other belts. I have 2 pairs of the same combat boots. It's the combat boot I've been looking for my whole life. I'm done with that. These are the sunglasses that I wear. I have 3 pair of them. I'm not going to buy more sunglasses. Like, I've sort of finished the looking. The only thing that I would want to collect now, like when I look around here, the only thing that I would want to take is your art. That stuff, because that can be reimagined in a different room. It's constantly.
Are you talking about my Bakelite tiki heads?
Your Bakelite tiki heads and your Raiden and your other tiki, like this stuff in another room. Like it. How am I saying this? It can be used in a million different ways. It can go with you, and it can change your space, and it can change your feeling and it's like that. Everything else, though, I'm happy to get rid of.
Well, I don't really know if I believe in ghosts in the sense of I believe that there is some phenomenon out there that might be ghosts. I don't necessarily believe it is necessarily the spirit of a dead person.
Right.
But I do believe that, like, I mean, I go into a laundromat and I get a bad vibe. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Well,
so imagine like a...
Well, you see sheets.
Right. Exactly. Right. Yeah,
Naturally.
Yes.
It's ghosts or the Klan, all Civil War related.
Yes.
Now, do Klansmen who died in the Civil War, do they have to wear a sheet over the sheet? And if so, are they just like, this is so hot. These fabrics
do they have to cut eye holes in both of them?
I know.
This is redundant.
Yeah.
Klansmen ghosts, if they don't align the eye holes, really spend eternity looking like Charlie Brown going trick-or-treating. And by the way, how fucked up were the parents in the Charlie Brown thing? But they all got together and said, let's just give this one kid rocks.
Right.
Yeah, horrible.
It's really cruel.
Also, I know how dumb it sounds talking about it because, yeah, again, I don't know if I really believe in ghosts, whatever. And like the idea that, yeah, like if you, whatever you die, like if they died in uniform, then they just haunt everyone for
Yeah, that's the part
eternity
that
in
gets
uniform.
me. Is that,
but
like,
I
where are
guess,
you getting your clothes from? There's
yeah. I don't know. But to me, they do.
Well,
and yeah, can't handle it.
When we first, it's been discussed on this podcast before. I used to live in Roddy McDowell's house.
That's pretty amazing.
And he died in my bedroom. With, he died in the bedroom. And when the house was being remodeled, I came in here a couple of nights when there was no power and like there were windows open and it was just like tarp. There was no creepy vibe at all.
Well, let me ask you
Like,
this,
wherever he went there, he stayed there. He's happy as a clam.
Yeah.
Did they?
That house had no freaky vibe. But I have felt freaky vibes. And just to finish the thought, my theory on ghosts is the same as my theories about like God or religion or anything like that. Well, not religion, but just because I can't conceive of something doesn't mean it can't exist.
Yeah,
Right.
Totally.
You know, it's
I feel
like
the same way.
we don't use. I've said this before. My dog cannot conceive of my computer.
That doesn't mean it's
Yet
not a
they
real
can.
thing.
They can both be in the same room.
Totally. I totally
You know?
agree with you completely.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. When I was interrupting you, I was only going to ask, when you were shown the house, is that a thing that realtors really do have to tell people if people died in their
Yes,
house?
because of Sharon Tate. Because
Are you serious?
Yes, because there's a rule. I'm assuming it's national, but it's specifically in California that someone bought the Tate house, the house where Sharon Tate was murdered, and they didn't find out until after, and they immediately sold the house.
Of
Now you have
course.
to divulge if anyone dies on the premises.
And that's a law?
That's a law now.
Yeah, I didn't know if that was...
And that is how we found out. They said, like, we have to tell you the previous owner passed away in the house. It was he was an actor named Roddy McDowell.
And then you were like high-fiving?
Yeah, that was it. We
Cool,
were done.
man.
Yeah, that's funny. I have a wind chime of his skeleton.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was because of the Sharon Tate house.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that was the origin of the law or whatever. And I also wasn't sure it was a law, so I was asking. I thought maybe it was like an urban legend kind of thing.
No, I think it's a law in California for real estate. You can't slip it by.
I'm fully on board with that. I think
Yeah,
you should
I
have to
thought
tell
that was-
people Civil War soldiers died in your house. That
I-
should have been on the books long ago.
Yes.
I was talking to somebody just the other day who said like they had definitely had a ghost in their house. Like there would be, like the TV would come on late at night and cupboards. And my theory on that, I hope it's true.
My parents, in our house, my parents said that when I was younger.
I kind of want to see that.
Well, when my parents got married, like my mom married my stepdad, they moved, like we all moved into a new house because mom's like, let's have a new start in a new house. And so I was like 8 or 9, so I don't remember this at all. But when we moved out of that house, I remember my mom telling me like, oh yeah, sometimes the stereo downstairs would just come on in the middle of the night, and sometimes doors would open. And thankfully they told me after the fact. I mean, even if I was 9, I'd been like, can I please be emancipated from you guys so I can grow up in a different house? Like, what are you doing?
See, I grew up in a house with a bunch of crazy drunken brothers. So sometimes somebody would put a TV dinner in the oven,
okay.
still in the box, and then pass out. And you'd come downstairs, and the house would be full of smoke. Or
It's the
somebody
ghost
would,
of sobriety.
yeah,
Haunted by the living.
yeah,
Yeah.
haunted by the living. Somebody would put wet rubber boots in the dryer, and they would catch on fire.
Ah.
You might once caught my brother peeing into a sink full of dishes,
Oh, God.
and he just looked up at me and went, "Fuck you."
Well, see,
It was really a blessed childhood.
It was just the three of us, so it's like, and that's another thing too. Why would my mom lie? And my mom's not dumb or sees crazy things. Like,
Yeah.
I trust my
Well, there's
mom.
a lot of great stuff in the South too. It's just that Southern Gothic. My mother tells a story. My mother grew up in Virginia in a holler. You know what a holler is?
Oh yeah. Well, isn't it like a creek? Like it's the woods.
Yeah,
I mean,
basically
it's
in the
basically
woods.
like in the woods.
Yeah, you're out in the woods. And she said that there was a house I must have been 7 when she told me this story. I don't know why she told me when I was 7. There was a house near where she grew up where they would go where supposedly the father went insane. A lot of stories about people going insane.
Oh, sure, yeah.
And threw their newborn baby into the fireplace. And the baby died, and then the guy killed himself. And the townspeople were so like horrified by what happened, they burned the house down. And the only thing that remained was the fireplace because that was brick.
Yeah.
And that if you go out there on certain nights, you can still hear the baby screaming.
Oh my God.
So that now is the thing that I'm most afraid of.
That is
baby burning
horrifying.
fireplaces.
Yeah.
That's just a great.
That's a
there's
great
just
story.
something visceral about that. There's a visceral way that grabs you, much in the same way of not seeing what you're swimming over.
Oh God.
There's just like
Yeah.
there's something
Totally.
there.
And that's also a southern thing. Like there are a lot of just like chimneys about, and this like
Just
weirdly,
random. That was
because of things being burned down, and
That's
the
in New
only thing
England
that
too.
stays.
That's in New England
Yeah.
too. Like a lot of just chimneys and
Yeah.
fireplaces.
I blame the economy.
I lost all my music trying to switch computers. I lost
Oh,
all
I
of
did
my
too.
music.
I lost everything. And
Me
I had-
too. And then some stuff's in the cloud and I can't get it. Can I tell you something? I couldn't be bothered. I don't care.
I have a lot
literally
of
don't care.
things-
I'll just buy new records, and I'm always going to listen to The Clash. Like, I'm really bad at, or I can listen to, like now with all these music services, I can just listen to old reggae on a station on Rhapsody and hear stuff I don't have.
I
I'd be
don't wanna
surprised by it.
I don't mean to paraphrase Alex Reed, but is there really a difference between the old reggae and the new reggae? When I hear
Idealistic.
reggae,
You agree?
I think I'm in the part of Maui where it's time to go back to the hotel.
Okay, I don't disagree with that, and I have to say that
It's so apt. It's
I
so apt.
thought that I hated reggae until someone was like, "Okay, but do you like this, 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 and this?" And I was like, "Yeah, those are all great bands." And they're like, "They're all basically reggae." Like,
Sure.
do you like Early Police? Oh, I love Early Police. Well, get in line. You like reggae.
Well, that's why the album was called Regatta de Blanc. It's
Correct.
the reggae of white people.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in Hawaii, and I grew to hate.
The reason I could never really latch on to Springsteen was because it was the favorite music of the people in high school that I hated the most.
Yeah, it's a hard
Yep.
thing to not blame the band because of their fans.
No, absolutely. Especially a band that's legendary because their fans outnumber them. And so it's the same thing with the Grateful Dead.
Yep.
It's the same thing with reggae. I also just Springsteen is just so plot. It's just I can't. I'm so mad respect for him as a human, and like there's a lot of things about him on paper. I go, this guy sounds awesome, and then you hear the first Clarence Clemens saxophone thing, and you go, I am so done with this. I'm over, and it's medium speed all the time,
And
and
it's one
and
of those things that I know it's good. I know people love it. People who I like, Mike Scully, for whom I could not have more affection and respect.
Yeah.
I would follow him into a minefield. He's the greatest guy ever.
Yeah.
He loves Bruce Springsteen so much. And I know he's a nice man. I can't get there.
Yeah.
Yep.
I can't
get
either.
there
And I
with him.
realized recently that I have a way of cataloging people like that who are American, which is my way of trying to get on board with someone else loving that person is I say, oh, he's a national treasure. That's what I say. Because in my mind, I'm like, yeah, I'm glad he's around. I know he means a lot to other people. He's unique. Couldn't be less interested, but I want to acknowledge for you that he's important.
That was
Yeah.
my
Not to
quote.
me,
in,
Right.
but
that
like
was my
to
quote in Harry
everyone.
Reams' obituary.
There you go. There you go.
Harry Reams recently dead.
Yeah, but he was a national treasure on some level. I mean,
Waist level.
huh?
Waist level.
Waist level, but he was a pioneer. I mean, somebody had to do that work. Otherwise, there's no James Dean. The point is this:
The other James Dean.
I feel
it's
like
amazing that he's eclipsing the other James Dean.
he is.
Yeah.
And ironically, the third James Dean famous for sausage. They all tie together.
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean,
Jimmy.
oh,
Good
Jimmy
old
Dean.
Jimmy
Jimmy Dean Porks.
And
he had great. You know what
he had a
had?
hit song, didn't he? What was his
He
hit
did
song?
have a hit song, but
Jimmy
his
Dean.
voice was Jimmy Dean Pork Sausage. Like that,
Yeah.
just the words, the way they pronounce the word, it
Yeah.
sounds like you're eating. This is a delicious meal with Jimmy Dean pork sausage, buttermilk biscuits, and snack-loaf cookies.
It's funny. I'm not hungry anymore. I,
know.
feel like I just ate.
I feel like I've been molested by my grandfather's friends.
His friends. I love that.
You must have a
falls
phobia, Matt. What are you afraid of, Matt? What are you afraid of, Matt?
Let's see. I used to one of my things is water related, is being First of all, claustrophobia, but especially like the idea of someone locking me in a trunk and just leaving me there.
Oh, that's pretty horrifying.
Like, and then there's no way I'm going to get out of it, or a safe. Like, if someone put me in a safe and I just know that that's it, I'm just going to die, or like buried alive, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm really. Some people say this is irrational, but I'm terrified of getting stuck in an elevator with a shark.
You mean from West Side Story?
No, those are. Well, have you ever been on a submarine?
I don't know if I would.
my God.
Carrie has it even worse. My wife, Carrie, she won't. She doesn't. We went to Disneyland and went on the submarine ride.
Right.
She can't handle that. Like, that's too.
Wait,
like,
what's
what if it
this?
gets stuck?
I've never been to Disneyland. What's
Okay.
the submarine ride?
It's really horrible.
It's a terrible. It was
That
the 20.
sounds
It
terrible.
was the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea ride, and now it's the Finding Nemo ride.
Okay, but it does simulate a submarine. So you're just like, hey, we go down.
Yeah, but
and then we
you
stay
go
there.
literally
Yeah.
just under the water.
And that brings up one of my favorite phobias of all time. John Hodgman is terrified of underwater robotics.
Disneyland.
The concept of the Jaws shark on the Universal Studios tour.
Okay, totally.
Once Paul Feig, the director of Bridesmaids, was when he had first come to LA, worked as a Universal Studios tour guide.
Okay.
And a woman's camera or purse fell into the lagoon, and he had to stop the tram and go wade into the lagoon to get her purse. And as he was in the water, he felt like the shark was getting ready to start up again. Like he felt the water gyrate. And it was just a machine, you know,
Sure.
but John was like, stop telling me the story. Stop telling me the story. And so I was on that very Disney ride. I was on the Nemo ride, and I took a photo of like the little robotic fish, and I texted it to him, and he just responded with, "You are a horrible person."
You totally gave him nightmares. You gave a grown man nightmares.
I hope he lets me tell that story. I'm gonna ask him. But those are I am a claustrophobia deal with if I can't get out, if I don't have the power to get out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm not afraid of enclosed places if I
Right.
can walk out.
Right. If it's a safe would drive me mad. Like, I would
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
lose my mind.
Or a refrigerator.
Yeah,
Oh,
right.
geez.
Yeah, and
Or
thrown
an
into the-
elevator.
Thrown into the water would be a bad one too. But at least if it had holes in it or something, like the
Yeah.
water would come in, and then
Right.
for a second I go, oh, and then it'd be over. But
Right.
But to be just like knowing that that's it, there's no way I can get out, and I'm just gonna wait out. Who knows? And luckily, oxygen would finally.
Yes.
The lack of oxygen would succumb me, but. Man, that terrifies me, and to the point where I think when I was a kid, somebody locked me in a trunk, and it was the most fear I felt up until that point.
That's probably what happened, and it gets etched onto your hard drive,
Right.
Because my grandfather on my mother's side, because I'm freaked out by elevators. Like, if I don't have the ability to just open the door, I do think this elevator is going to get stuck, and I'm going to die here.
Yeah.
Right.
I have a fear of getting stuck between floors on
Yeah.
an elevator. Yeah.
No one's going to find me. No one's going to think to check the elevator,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to die here. Or I'm going to be in an elevator with a beautiful woman, and it's going to get stuck, and I'm going to have to poop.
I didn't know where that was going.
And that's even worse for me.
Sure, then death?
Yeah, well,
The pooping
because
in front of a hot lady?
well, I wouldn't. I would have to kill her first because my reptilian brain would take over. My need to survive would force me to kill the woman
Sorry,
first.
ma'am. I have to murder you because I
Right.
had some tacos for lunch.
You will see me in heaven 5 minutes from now, and you will be glad this happened, and you will totally understand
You're
it.
going to heaven after
Yeah.
murdering a lady.
No, she will be in heaven. She will be in heaven.
for that.
Oh,
Yeah.
She will be in heaven looking down, and then she'll go, "Oh, I see.
okay.
He had to poop."
fair enough. Fair
Yeah.
enough.
And then when
Yeah.
the police open the door, finally, I can at least say, "Well, clearly,
Yeah, no jury would convict you.
She took a shit and died of embarrassment. Can I please get out of this elevator?"
The door opens up. Oh, of course you killed her.
Yeah. I would just put. I don't know what she had.
I don't know. I think the cops would let you off. If you were like, but officer, look at how hot she
Yeah,
is.
come on, would
they'd
you?
go,
No, I get it.
We get it.
Crime of passion.
Yeah.
But because when I was like 2 or 3, my mother's father, my grandfather, took me shopping and left me in the car. Just left me in the car
Classic.
and went into the grocery store. I don't remember this, obviously, but my mother says I came back and was literally like screaming, would not stop screaming. And I was not a fan of his. I probably went in there knowing him for like an hour.
Right.
You know, just left the 2-year-old in the car by
Right.
himself. Idiot.
Yeah.
But that, and then I think that just gets etched onto your hard drive. They say that hypnosis could
Will
probably
free a lot of
undo
that
that.
stuff out.
Yeah.
I think that.
Dianetics.
But I'm
also.
afraid of hypnosis.
What if hypnosis is your phobia? Yeah, I think that is partially true too because I learned to swim, air quotes, when my stepdad, when I was like 4 or 5, just threw me in a lake
Yeah,
and was
that's
like,
no
swim. And that's like no joke. I learned
That's a
to
terrible
swim,
way to swim.
but it's honestly,
that's like
and
an
he
old
just kept
tradition,
doing
too.
it. I'd be like crying, and I would figure out how to like doggy paddle back to the boat, and then he would lift me up, throw me right back in, and be like, "Swim now."
What a terrible person.
He kind of sucks. But I mean, so I'm sure that is part of it.
He is the stepfather from the movie.
Yeah. He was a hard ass, big time. But,
Well, talk about things etched into your head. The other thing I was really afraid of for a long time was God. Because when I was growing up, my parents, we went to a real kind of white bread sort of church, Presbyterian church, never any talk of hell or the devil or anything like that. We'd hear a boring speech and then we'd go and we'd get cookies.
Yeah.
Right.
And it was fine. It was a good day. And then I met somebody wwho actually then told me about the hell devil part. And I went, what? And from that point on, it plagued me for years. And I went to a Christian summer camp.
That's why the concept of hell was made up by people.
Right, yeah. Yeah. Which, I mean,
To keep you afeared.
yeah. And then, the more that you think about it, you go, well, what loving God? I can't believe in a God that I'm nicer than. I would never do that.
Well, didn't you guys see that the Pope just recently said that like everybody's going to go to heaven, basically?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That statement that like even atheists, it's like as long as you do good, like you're
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
That's always been my theory.
Right. Which is, but that's like, I can't believe it didn't get more that's shockingly revolutionary for the Pope
I think
to
that
say.
I think they're tamping it down vehemently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They must be. Anyway, so you're
But
cool,
I-
though. My point is you're cool, and God's cool with
good.
you.
But
and-
that'll stick with you, and then I went to this religious summer camp where it was almost like a cult where they had you up at 5 a.m. doing prayer
No
breakfasts
kidding.
and then there was Bible study, and by the end of it I was just traumatized. And all this stuff of like, you must stand up and accept Christ, or else now God is waiting for you to make the right decision. You're like, I'm 7.
Yeah.
Right,
no,
right.
I thought
yeah,
there were
yeah.
going to be horses.
I want to be in a canoe.
That's funny because I also went to church camp, but mine was pretty chill as well, and it was like Methodist or something. But
And most of them are, I found out.
Well, I had
happened to go
Catholic
to the
friends.
one.
I remember going to Catholic church with some Catholic friends a couple of times in school and being like, "Whoa, you guys! Like, what's this about?" Yeah.
Yeah. See, I used to work at the Catholic Church.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I worked there.
And
I was a lector. I was an altar boy and a lector.
Oh, okay.
We were raised Catholic. So, yeah, it's all bananas.
Yeah.
Cuckoo bananas.
Sure.
When you were a kid, you had to say, like, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. So
Yeah, like we didn't have to do that.
it's drilled into your head that, oh, no, there's a ghost.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a ghost. If you don't believe in the ghost,
Nicest ghost.
yeah. If you don't believe in the
He's the
ghost, you're going
friendly
to go to
ghost.
hell. That's
Right.
how much there's a ghost. So
Right.
why wouldn't there be Civil War ghosts driving abandoned construction equipment?
That is a pretty terrifying image.
It
of
is, and
just
especially-
a flat lake, and then all of a sudden coming out of the lake is a
crane.
tractor with
Yes,
a Civil
that
War
movie
guy driving it.
Totally terrifying.
That would freak me out.
and
in
just
the
the
background,
silhouette of like a big crane in the dark, like driving by it, or like a steamroller like parked in a field, like in the dark. That's fucking terrifying. I'm like giving myself nightmares talking about it.
Really?
Yeah, because again, I'm not, look, in everyday life, I'm like super rational and practical. When it comes time to like getting scared and the lights get turned out, my brain immediately is like, oh yeah, all those things could totally happen to you right now. Like it just goes out the window. So I
is
will be
that-
like, oh, that crane's going to start up and drive over you. That
But they
will
go
happen.
but if the crane starts up,
Yes. Oh, yes.
not unlike the Mummy, it moves so slowly.
Right.
It's like a Dalek.
Can't you stroll away?
But then I feel stroll away.
The Mummy movies were the only horror movies where the monster would come at you and the person could whistle while avoiding the monster.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm going to be paralyzed by fear. That's the thing.
Yeah,
I'm
that
just going to
happened
be
to me
stopped
once.
in my tracks.
That happened to me once. There was In 1972, the TV movie The Night Stalker with Darren McGavin, the very first one that became the TV show later, but the pilot movie, which was on in the fall of 1972. I was in second grade, and we watched it. And it was really scary. And to this day, it's really scary.
Yeah.
It's a really, really well done movie. And if you've never seen it, you can do a lot worse for 90 minutes.
Yeah, no, that's a good movie.
The scariest thing is this reporter, Darren McGavin, is hiding in the house where the vampire is. Do you know? Have you seen the movie?
No. I avoid scary
So
stuff.
you're not a horror movie person. Okay.
I will have nightmares for years.
Okay.
I'm honestly the most easily scared person of both of you I'm sure have
so
ever
funny.
met. I'm a total pussy. It's like not even funny.
That's so funny.
So then Killdozer really is the one for
Killdozer's
you.
not the one.
Yeah,
for
like
you.
I couldn't even handle that probably.
Well, the vampire has a woman that he's attacked that he keeps alive, chained to a bed, and uses her to cycle hemoglobin. Like he
See, I
uses
can't
her as a
even-
blood bank. It's really for 1972. It was really perverse.
yeah.
It was really.
And this like regular TV?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the
It was a
ABC
TV movie.
ABC Tuesday night movie.
Wow.
And so the reporter's up there starting to untie the girl, and he hears the vampire come in. So he hides in the closet. And then the vampire comes in the room, and then he can't see the vampire. And then the vampire whips open the closet door, and he's standing there. And it's really scary. And after it aired, I went up to bed, and I was 8.
Right.
I just turned 8. It was September of 1972.
Oh my God.
And I was scared out of my gourd.
Of course.
And I get in the bed, and in my closet, in my bedroom, I hear a noise. It gets so much better. I open the door, nothing. And then my brother, wearing a white glove, sticks his hand out of the closet.
Oh my God.
And I was literally paralyzed. Like, I couldn't scream. I couldn't move. I was just like, ah!
That's
God,
that's
brothers
there's
are dicks.
That's a great. Well, that's true, but yeah, that's kind of ingenious though.
And
How
yeah.
old was your brother?
He was 5 years older than I was, so he was 13. And this is the same brother that after Trilogy of Terror threw a G.I. Joe on me in the middle of the night. You haven't seen that either.
No.
My brother.
Have you seen
I can-
Jaws?
Yeah, I've seen
Okay.
yeah.
Well, like, I'm curious.
John
like,
Hodgman hasn't, right?
Yes, I don't know. Probably not.
No, I actually love Jaws.
I'm curious as to what movies that you also find scary. You know, have you seen Paper Moon? Fuck, no. The Depression?
I love Paper Moon, actually. No, it's
There was a run on the banks. I can't see that
The Incredible
movie.
Mr. Limpet.
honestly, there's no rhyme or reason to any like this is like caused strife in relationships. Like my last boyfriend was like super into scary movies. Like 'cause
We
he
could
didn't-
never date.
Well, he didn't know.
I'm letting you off the hook right now.
Yeah. My wife and I on our anniversary watched torture porn. So
Oh, yeah. See, but the line is very weird because there are certain things where I can watch. Like I can watch people getting shot all day long for some reason. But if somebody breaks a bone in a movie, I'm like, ah,
Oh, right, yeah, no,
that
I get
kind of
that.
thing. I don't know. It's a weird. And then there are some ghost movies that I can watch because they're so like fakey. But then
Like
there's
Ghost
some,
with Demi Moore.
Yes.
Haunted Mansion.
Yeah, right. I don't know. It's a weird. I don't know. Even for myself, it's a case by case basis.
Yeah.
Well, I got to see the preview.
You're like the
and then I'll
IRS
let
in
you
that
know.
regard.
Yes, it's super weird and annoying. I know.
Have you
this.
ever seen the original The Haunting?
No.
You might be able to get through that.
You might be able to
You
get
think
through
so?
that
Yeah,
one.
because it's elegant.
Yeah.
Like I can watch
And,
like Hitchcock stuff. I can watch like things
Psycho?
that aren't. Yeah, totally. Like I for some reason things that are more overtly
What about, like-
scary work on me.
What about like The Creature from the Black Lagoon?
I feel like I have seen that. Like when I watched a lot, and that's the thing too is I watched a lot of crazy. When I was like 8, I saw A Clockwork Orange accidentally because my grandparents had HBO and my parents didn't, and I was at their house a lot. And so when they went to sleep, I'm like, turn on the HBO. They would sleep at like 5 p.m. So I'm
Right.
like, let's do
Yeah.
this. And so I did accidentally see like a lot of crazy stuff I
Yeah.
totally shouldn't have seen at that age.
As did I.
And so I think that also has something to do with it.
Down at Fraggle Rock.
You know what gets me though is that Planet of the Apes, and they just had that
sorry,
Mad
what?
Men. It's this movie. Never mind. But they just did that Mad Men
Yes.
episode where he takes his son and
Oh,
he gets
yeah.
in trouble.
I like to think that he did that for me.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what didn't he get in trouble because he was
Yes.
scared?
But what's funny is that my parents, I am this old, took me to Planet of the Apes when it
Right.
premiered. I saw it in the theater.
Right.
Wow, I didn't get that.
And that is a G-rated movie, and there are so
you were
many
4.
Yeah.
scary things in that.
Yeah, oh
thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot of crazy
Yeah,
crap in
people
that.
getting shot in the throat.
Yeah.
A guy
Guys
is
get a-
stuffed.
Guy gets a lobotomy.
Yeah.
And like, and all these images are like, this is terrifying.
Beneath the Planet of the Apes, much creepier and much more bizarre.
Much creepier, but by that time I had already seen Planet, so
Yeah.
I was almost like I'm kind of toughened up a little bit.
Yeah.
Right.
And so mutants were almost a little too
Yeah.
crazy.
See, the first one I saw was Escape from the Planet of the Apes, which is basically an episode of Love American Style.
So you were like, I got this. I
Yeah,
can
this
handle
is
this.
easy.
Love
Yeah,
and the
yeah.
talking chimps.
That's
Yeah.
basically it.
Yeah.
It's like Grape Juice Plus. That was nothing. And then I saw Planet of the Apes.
But
and,
yeah,
and everything changed.
my
And it
brother
all changed.
My brother, by the way, he did what he did to me in the sort of same vein as what your brother did to you was we watched Last Man on Earth.
The Vincent Price
The
one?
Vincent Price one, and I had never seen that before. And so we're watching
I'm
this.
a man and you're all freaks.
And my favorite sort of limp-wristed hammering a steak in someone.
Vincent Price, such an odd choice to play the sturdy, stalwart hero in a movie.
Oh, is that what he played in
Yeah,
that?
yeah, he's the hero. It's basically, did you see the Will Smith I Am Legend? It's the same book.
Oh, okay.
But it's
Yeah.
Vincent. But instead of Will Smith,
It's Vincent Price.
It's
Oh,
Vincent
no
Price.
kidding.
Yeah.
I'm going to kill these vampires.
These vampires are everywhere, even in Sears, where the best artwork is available. Look at these beautiful copies of the old Masters classics.
Yeah, he really is like,
I'll just have a can of beans tonight.
Right.
it's very. It would be like if you cast him as Bruce
But I will
Willis.
serve it with a reduction.
It's like if you cast him as Bruce Willis's role in the Die Hard movies.
Oh, my God.
Let's just yippee-ki-yay, cowboy, I'm coming.
In a lab coat with an ascot swinging around a building.
But in this movie, though, they have these vampires that are like zombies, and they moan and they attack his house, and they
Right.
go, more. His name's Morgan. Morgan. So as soon as the movie is over, of course, my brother shuts off the circuits in our house, so I can't even
my
turn on a light.
God.
Wow! Yes. And
What a
I'm
monster.
sitting in the living room going, please turn on the lights, and he's going, Morgan.
See, okay, this also plays into my.
That's awesome.
Horrible.
But here's where the line for me is like, I think vampires are dumb, so I'm not scared of them. I think they're just like super ridiculous and dumb, and I'm not into anything they have to do with. So that's why if I watch even what is supposed to be the scariest vampire movie, I'm just like
I think I'm
thumbs
with you on
down.
that.
I don't
Yeah.
care.
I think you and
So
I are
it's
going to
like
watch
selective-
the Night. I think you and I are going to watch the Night Stalker, and I'll judge you accordingly
Based on my whether or not I'm scared of it.
based on the fact that you think the vampires are dumb. It's
I just
But-
am not that. So that's my thing. I think I'm
how
only
it's handled,
scared
I
of things that I don't think are lame. Like I don't know. Like I just vampire. I feel like if a vampire stepped to me, I'd be like, "What? You're a dork." Like
This
who
is probably- yeah.
cares?
Well-
I wouldn't be scared of it.
It's how you have. There's a movie called Stakeland that has these.
Stakeland? I don't know
Stakeland.
that. I
Yeah,
don't
it's
know
like
that.
it's sort of like.
that's where my dad. That's my dad's version of heaven. It's just steak
Land.
every day.
Steak
Jeez,
land.
but I love that.
Why'd you have to say steak? I said it. Damn. But yeah, it's sort of like The Walking Dead, but with vampires, and vampires are more animalistic. They're not.
Well, that's basically I
See,
Am
I think
Legend.
zombies are way scarier than vampires.
That's the book I Am Legend that
Yeah,
they've never
and that
done.
is scary. Like,
Yeah.
that I think is scary.
Well, I think because also my knowledge, or most of it, and is that like vampires have been sold to my generation as like sexy people.
Sure.
It's sexy when we bite you, and I'm like, that's not sexy at all. You're like you're just like the dorky goth kid in high school. Like that's not sexy, and so I'm not on board. Yeah, I'm not. So I'm not into that. I think zombies are far scarier.
And I don't
Zombies
know,
are scary. Yes.
Did that start with Dark Shadows?
I think mummies are scarier
what?
than
The
vampires.
vampire is a tragic, romantic.
Yeah, because even in the original Dracula, he's more of a malevolent figure.
Yeah.
In pretty much every carnation. Maybe.
Could be.
Yeah. I say we
The blue whale.
I say we call Wally Wingert.
Wait, isn't like the first vampire, isn't it like Bram?
Must we?
Isn't Bram Stoker like the first guy to write about vampires?
No.
Is he the father of the vampire?
No, he's not. People think that, but there was a thing called Varney the Vampire before that.
Penny Dreadful.
Yeah, they had come about in their figure in historical fiction.
Oh, okay. Because my problem also too with that, and especially now that they're like part of teen romance novels and stuff,
Sure.
is that I have a big
Vampires
problem.
and Bigfoot.
Right.
I'm terrified of Bigfoot.
I have a real problem with how vampires, like they've been, a literary character for so many, hundreds of years that they don't seem to adhere to any set of rules, and that annoys me.
Well, that drives me crazy.
That drives me super crazy.
This is going to nerd out for a moment. They have rules.
I think they do too, but it's
and when people change the rules, it drives me.
It's not a vampire anymore then.
Berserk.
Okay.
I'm totally with you.
Like in the I think it's the Vampire Diaries. They can walk around during the day.
It's Sunlight.
Don't
they
get.
can
No,
in
I don't like
Twilight
that
too.
If they have a ring on or something.
Yeah,
Yes.
no,
It's
I
like,
don't like
no.
none of that stuff.
Definitely. Like things like in Twilight, they're like on the swim team. Like, no, you can't do like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just because you want
They
your
are,
vampire
really?
to go to your high school, it doesn't matter. He's still a vampire. You can't.
That is fantastic.
So that bothers me too. So that makes
that
them
bothers
less
me.
scary to me because I'm like, well, it seems like they can just do what, like, they're not this hard and fast, like, I drink your blood. You can only kill me with stakes to the heart. Da-da-da. Like, these rules apply to me as a scary thing.
Right.
Like, when those kind of adjust and it's like, well, sometimes I can walk in the sunlight and sometimes I can make out with you in my car after school. Like,
Right.
well, then no, you're not a vampire
But
anymore.
even as a kid, I was like, so only a stake to the heart
Yeah.
or a silver bullet.
I thought the silver
So-
bullet was werewolf.
Well, there's also some
There's
silver
also-
bullet.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
But it's
okay.
like, so if I make you swallow a grenade, nothing.
Well,
I mean, hey, rules are rules, buddy.
there's a
I
great
guess not.
comic book called Preacher that has a
Oh,
vampire
sure, of course,
character in
yeah.
it, and they blow him up and they hack him to pieces, and all the pieces gradually
come back
start
together.
Like the T-1000?
Yeah.
Well, okay.
And it's really painful.
That's right, ladies. I just made an analogy between the preacher vampire and the T-1000. That's right.
I'm shifting in my
This
seat.
should be a dating podcast.
Taken. Taken. That's a scary movie. I don't want Liam Neeson mad at me ever with his weird accent.
Totally.
I'm going to overpronounce every R in this line.
Yeah.
And it
I will
works.
tell you something now. I am saying R. There is a robin redbreast bird.
Is he Irish? That's what he is,
Yeah.
right?
Yes, he's Irish.
Or supposed to be?
He's Irish. And apparently, huge cock.
Oh, okay. I don't doubt that.
Yeah.
That frightens
But
me.
he's got a kind of Irish accent.
That frightens me a lot.
Yeah.
He's got the Irish accent that, like, Sean Connery has of the Scottish accent. Where, like,
Yes.
no one in Scotland talks like that.
No one has that. No one in New England talks like the Kennedys.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of
They
their
have
own
this
thing.
weird accent that no one else has. Because they were kids and lived in England when they were kids.
Oh,
Because
okay.
their father was the ambassador to the court of St. James.
Oh,
So-
well, then that makes sense.
and they went to private schools and they didn't really have a lot of street friends. So they
Right.
developed
So they were
this
a little
bizarre,
posh.
bizarre accent. Yes.
So then they come back to America.
Hey, homies.
Yeah. How are you? I hope no one shoots me in the head. That's all I want.
We come in peace.
What if the Marshalls land and they sound like the Kennedys? We come in peace. How are you? You know what I really like is beans with maple syrup in them. That's why we've come to your planet.
Who do I gotta fuck to get an otter pop?
Who do I have to fuck to get laid around here? Boy, you are just like the Kennedys. When I was 10 years old, if you had asked me what I wanted to be when I grew up, I would have said a reporter. Now, at that time, 1974, the two most celebrated reporters in the world were Bob Woodward and Carl Bernstein. They had uncovered a little scandal called Watergate for the Washington Post and had recently brought down a sitting U.S. president. But I couldn't give a monkey's asshole for Bob Woodward and Carl Bernstein, because in 1974, the most famous reporter in the world as far as I was concerned, and I was not alone in this opinion, was a guy named Carl Kolchak. Now let us, like a good reporter, back up here and put our story into context. When television first reared its black and white head, motion pictures responded to the competition with things like 3D and CinemaScope, big, bold, brassy advances that you could not get at home on a 12-inch black and white screen. TV was TV, and movies were movies, and never the twain shall meet. How naive. This is ignoring the fact that the television schedules were pretty much filled with movies. But in the mid-1960s, TV networks started making their own movies. It was a bold new idea, made-for-TV movies. Or, as they came to be known, made-for-TV movies. Okay. The idea took hold, and by the early 1970s, all of the networks, ABC in particular, had production arms solely dedicated to making movies that never played in theaters. You could only see them on TV. In 1971, ABC purchased a then unpublished novel by a former Las Vegas Sun reporter named Jeff Rice. The book, entitled The Kolchak Papers, told the story of one Carl Kolchak, a down-on-his-luck reporter based in, you guessed it, Las Vegas, who discovers, much to his disbelief, that there seems to be a real live vampire murdering women right there in Sin City.
Did I say it was a vampire?
Well, what does your suggested headline say?
The story makes it clear.
Vampire killer in Las Vegas?
What?
Question mark. Do I misread?
The story makes it clear.
Do I misread, or did you use the word vampire?
What makes the movie so great is that no one in the movie responds to the threat of a vampire as if they're in a movie. No one grabs a torch, except for Carl Kolchak, played by the late, great Darren McGavin.
Some screwball who imagines he's a vampire is loose in Las Vegas, and people ought to be told.
If there's a screwball running around loose in Las Vegas, his last name begins with a K.
The script for The Night Stalker was written by the legendary Richard Matheson, who wrote I Am Legend and a ton of classic Twilight Zone episodes, and was once cited by Stephen King as being one of his biggest literary influences. In the movie, Carl Kolchak not only comes up against a vampire, but a police department, mayor's office, and most importantly, his editor, Tony Vincenzo, played by Simon Oakland, who do not want this story out.
This nut thinks he is a vampire. He has killed 4, maybe 5 women. He has drained every drop of blood from every one of them. Now, that is news, Vincenzo. News. And we are a news paper. We are supposed to print news, not suppress it.
But even when you think Kolchak's a hero, he's still kind of a shit.
Kolchak, you are an idiot. Worse, you're irresponsible. All these murders mean to you is a byline.
Well, what the hell difference does it matter what it means to me?
The Night Stalker premiered in January of 1972 and, to everyone's surprise, quickly became the highest-rated TV movie in history up to that time. It got a 54 share. More than half of the television sets that were on that night were watching The Night Stalker. It spawned a sequel, The Night Strangler, and in 1974, a short-lived TV series entitled Kolchak the Night Stalker. Along the way, inspiring a slew of children of the 1970s, myself included, to be reporters. At least until we all grew up and decided to become the $6 Million Man. The Night Stalker clocks in at 74 short minutes, and it moves like a freight train. It is so great, it is scary, it is funny. The soundtrack is, let us use the phrase, 70s-tastic. And if you haven't seen it, it is well worth a watch.
Don't look now, baby. But Kolchak's coming back in style.
But where, oh where can you see it, you ask? Try Amazon.com. Why not go to DanaGould.com, click on our Amazon banner, and shop away? You can get The Night Stalker on DVD or anything you want. And we get a little something to keep the lights on. Everyone goes away happy. And stop shouting. I can hear you. How else can I support the show, Dana? All right, I'll tell you. Go to DanaGould.com and click on our PayPal banner. You can become a supporter of the show, either a one-time supporter or a monthly supporter. You can give as little or as much as you like, and I am serious when I tell you it is a big help. I would especially like to thank the people who became monthly supporters after our last episode, and then sat there uncomfortably while we went on a 2-month hiatus. It wore on our psyches, and we're back on schedule. Thank you so much. Now, with added sincerity, because, unlike before, starting now, with this episode, frankly, I really do need the fucking money.
Phone check. You're one hell of a reporter.
I have a picture of the Clash that I have by my bed.
Because you need a little jolt of electrical shocker?
I do. And I need something to, like, I use that picture I literally use it as a totem of, like, if somebody asks me to do something, if something crosses my plate. Let's say the old days, like when somebody would ask me to do something for a living. Or they would say, do you want to be in this thing, or do you want to audition for this, or do you think this is a good idea? I would literally go look at the picture for a while and go, does it have the same integrity? Does it stand up to what I believe this is? What I've decided the Clash are in this photo, it's the perfect photo of them. Does the thing I want to do feel like that? It's not going to look like that, but does it feel like that? And to me, that's more better than having 1,000 million pictures of them and all kinds of their guitar strap and all that kind of stuff, which I can't do anything. I actually use the photo. I actually use it as something. It actually has meaning to me, and so I use it as something, as opposed to, I feel like sometimes people collect shit and then it just sits there and it's like, well, I got this for when it happens.
Well,
what's going to happen? It doesn't matter, but when it happens, I got it.
They'll know who I was by this.
Right. You can get to the point where you are the sum of your possessions. Or tattoos are the same thing. My brother Jim has, like, my brother Jim seems to operate under the fear that one day he's going to be found dead, and the people who find him won't know who his favorite teams were. so he has them all over his arms. So that we knew he loved the Bruins and the Patriots.
I got these 2 tattoos on my forearms, and they were both drawn by my daughters. One is a picture of me that True drew when she was 3, and the other one is a picture of Amira that Mighty drew when she was 3. And if I had these, I would have no others. Like, it was the search for these tattoos, and once I got these, I needed no others. These to me are exactly what I want to have tattooed on my body, and everything else is just sort of like fine. I don't regret it, and certainly I got the guns to pull this shit off. It's look. These canvases needed to be painted on. But the point is...
And they're in the position where the dragon and the tiger were on Kwai Chang King.
That's exactly right. But the point is, these are something I really wanted. But it took me a long time. I had to go through a bunch of other things to get there, including some flame and a coffee cup and some stars that are meaningless. Like, there's some shit on there.
How many tattoos do you have?
17, I think.
Wow. Shut the front door.
You didn't know that?
Yeah,
Did you know that when you brought up the conversation?
I knew you had a couple.
I've got guitars tattooed to my legs that I got on LA Ink because I wanted to be on TV, and I was so mad at having a gay talk show that I thought getting tattoos of guitars on LA Ink would make me a different person. Turns out, same guy.
Same guy.
Right.
I love them. They're fine, but they're just fine. I'm not embarrassed or anything like that. Yeah. I don't regret them, but they don't give me like the satisfaction that these 2 tattoos give me as tattoos.
Yeah, I got just one tattoo, and it's of a penguin. And it's like penguin's my favorite animal. It's been like kind of like I like the idea of a penguin. It's like you're supposed to have some kind of reason why you get a tattoo. Mm-hmm. They're a bird that doesn't do what birds do. It's just that's what I liked about it. And, and it's it's nice. It's real big, but it's just like no one ever sees it because I dress like this all the time, and I never have like a shirt that goes above that line. And I got it. I was 25 or 26, and it was just pretty much I was like, it's like I'm able to do this, and I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
And it was it was nice, and like I don't have any real plans of getting any other ones. It's just a huge fucking
when I had mine, everyone always thought that meant eventually I would get a ton more.
That's what they say. I mean, like a lot
and
of
you had
with their minds by getting it removed.
For the benefit of those who can't see you, you had a.
Oh, I had a double black armband just on my bicep that was so hard to cover with makeup.
And what did it symbolize to you?
There was a little bit of, I think, like, hey, I could do this, because I was like 19 when I got it. I was like, I guess I can do this now that I live in San Francisco by myself. It was also a little bit, I think it was a little bit of giving myself a medal, like, I've gone through a lot of shit, and I'm tough, and like this tattoo is going to remind me how tough I am.
Yeah.
And then 10 years later when I came down here and no one could cover it, and no one in San Francisco, everyone has tattoos, and just doesn't matter what you look like up here or anywhere else, like everybody's got a tattoo. Like, this is not surprising, but being down here with like blonde hair and blue eyes, like the things I would go audition for when I showed up, if my tattoo was showing, they would be like, I don't what like their heads would explode.
Well, and I wonder about people like Johnny Depp. They have so many tattoos now. it's actually like it's going to be a problem for.
You're like in body makeup, all that. Like same with
all the time.
Angelina Jolie,
too,
and you can
yeah.
really see.
There's one tattoo. Like, there's an image I've seen that actually Deanna showed me when we first started dating. Of it's of Godzilla, and it looks like a woodblock like carving of Godzilla, and he's holding his snout closed, and his stomach is exploding, and it's like Godzilla suicide. It's like, he just like holds it in and just breathes
That's
the radioactive.
great. I'd at least like a T-shirt of that.
Yeah,
That
it's a
is
really great
so
image,
funny
and I
because
love it because I love suicide.
People who doesn't.
Oh, it is. I mean, I collect suicides.
Yeah, no,
I collect suicides.
I
yeah,
saw
yeah.
you in that movie, Harold and Maude.
That's right.
I collect suicide notes, and of the 3,000 I have, only 11 of them conclude with the phrase, well, anywho. Funny thing about Godzilla.
I'm rambling. I'm sorry. I'm rambling.
I'm babbling. Note to self: buy batteries. Forget it.
Yeah.
PPS. Forget it. I'm always afraid about my suicide that I'll misspell it, and then people will be over my corpse. Hey, Dana committed suicide. What a tragedy. Funny you said Godzilla. Two things. Your Clash photo, I have a similar photo, but for a different reason.
Yeah.
I have a photo of the actor who was in the Godzilla suit.
Oh, wow.
Walking through the model of Tokyo, but it's just the legs, and he's, in just a T-shirt. And,
Oh, yeah.
And they're filming the shot of his feet going down the street.
Oh, that's great.
And because it's all show business. It's just,
Right.
we're all just carnies.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah.
Take the gig.
Yeah.
He's an actor, too.
Yeah.
He's an actor, too. And this is apropos of nothing, but it's a great story. My oldest daughter is a bit of a nerd, and I was showing her Godzilla movies. I thought she'd really like it. And she was younger at the time. She was probably 7 or 8. And there's a scene in, I think it was Monster Zero, where Godzilla's fighting Ghidra, and Ghidra kicks Godzilla, and Godzilla goes rolling head over tail down the side of this mountain. And Lulu is just watching television, and she goes, Dad, Godzilla's thinking, this is a terrible day for me. It was so wonderful. And does Godzilla ever have those moments that says, why do I fight everybody?
Everybody.
I cannot
like-
get along with
He
anybody.
just wakes up and it's like, oh, here we go again.
I'm a giant lizard. He's a giant caterpillar. We should get along.
Right? We're like the only two.
Why are we fighting?
I know there's a prescription for this, but no one's going to give it to me.
How many people breathe fire and they don't get along? I was once I happened to know 2 super goth dudes that both had the Bride of Frankenstein tattooed on their upper left forearm, and they didn't get along. You have so much else in common.
Oh, my God.
Can't you make this work?
Nope.
But that happens, like, just to like take it back to like stuff where you collect things. Like, that's a good way to like make friends if like you happen to go to someone's place and you see that they have a very similar like style and stuff,
Yeah.
and you just go, oh, that thing. It's like you go to someone's place and you see they have a rack of videos. You go straight to those and go, oh, you like this, you
Right.
like this,
Yeah.
you and me.
Please, every guy I've ever dated, when they come over, they're like, I found you. And
Oh,
I'm
I
like,
bet.
oh. I think if you're the kind of girl who's thoughtful about what you have and you do sort of represent yourself, I don't do it consciously. Like when someone comes over, I want them to know who I am. It's just stuff I like being surrounded by. But if a guy who's not used to seeing Tron toys in a girl's house comes over, he's like, here's the one. Of course, there are many of us, but like it's a little more few and far between.
And like I was
See, if I had come to your house, all I would say is you should meet my friend Brian.
There you go. And then I would have started dating Brian.
I would be like, I don't know. I like that. I don't know what that is. Like, I'm bad at that stuff.
But you have that feeling though, as a young guy too, where it's like when you're just used to this idea of a girl, but then when like a girl is like kind of anyway similar to just the guys you hang out with, you can't handle it, and you're just like, that's it finally.
Yeah.
And then like when it doesn't work out, that's why like I think like dorkier guys or nerdier guys, they get like more devastated than any, because they're like, it's never going to happen again.
Right.
Yeah.
Like
Which
I'm never
isn't
going to
true.
meet another
Which
girl
isn't
that
true
likes
at all.
Mystery Science Theater.
Yeah,
you
which
know?
isn't true. And I guess I should also say I'm super self-conscious that I said what I said. Like I thought I was the shit, but I think that happened way more when I was younger. Like now, I think everybody, like when you're older, you've had more relationships, more experiences. You come to understand that there are, no matter who you are, there are just more of us out there. Like there are more guys like you out there than you thought. There's more girls like me.
When
than
I first
thought,
started dating Amira, and I went to her office when she was working at the record company, she had big dolls of the Tick. And
nice.
The Tick's like one of the few things that I really liked, and liked it as a comic book. And before, I was like, oh my god, The Tick. Yeah. And so I did find that to be like kind of awesome.
But that's a really good way. That's such an interesting part of this conversation is how it does. I love that you brought that up. How it connects you with other people. And how that identity plays such an important part and can be that bridge at the beginning, especially if you're looking for a sign or something like that.
And then years later it develops into, you hate me, I hate me.
Yeah.
But I found, this has just happened to me on an airplane. So like you tend to judge people. Like, so this guy sat next to me and he was super fat and he had to open his legs because he couldn't close them because there wasn't room for his closed legs and he couldn't keep them closed. So he was essentially... Right. And he had the same haircut. He looked exactly like John Goodman in The Big Lebowski. So he's sitting next to me. His fat's on me. He's not a bad guy. He's not a bad person at all. But I'm
fat's on.
He's on me. No, he's literally I'm pushed to the side. Like I'm actually pushed to the side like a cartoon. I mean, I'm not a tiny guy, but I'm pushed to the side, and I'm I'm just furious. I'm mad at the airlines. I'm mad at this guy for his diet, and it comes out in conversation, which I sort of. That he works for Guitar Center and he runs their website. And suddenly, everything that I didn't like about him just evaporated. And for 2 hours, we could not stop talking about my favorite topic in the world, which is guitars. I don't own a lot of them, but I can talk about them. And all I wanted to do is ask him about signature models. He couldn't have been nicer, more interested. We were talking so loud and so excitedly that there was a woman in front of us, like looking back every once in a while, like, shut the fuck up. And it's like, no, we're not going to shut up because I want to talk about the Johnny Marr Jaguar.
It turned into an absolute fantasy for you. Like you're suspended above the planet,
right?
With someone who just wanted to
like
talk
if
about
we
guitar.
did, like if the plane had gone down, I would have been, well, it could have been worse. So wait a minute, does the Zakk Wylde one even sell? Boosh!
That's how I feel every time I'm with Matt Weinhold and we think about Ultraman.
Ultraman, though. I loved Ultraman.
There are certain things in those movies do it, and it just makes me happy. I think of Godzilla coming out of the harbor to this music. Dun 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 banana. And it just makes me laugh.
Yeah.
It just makes me happy. It makes me laugh. I think of Tor Johnson trying to speak English in Plan 9 from Outer Space.
Yeah.
I'm a big boy, Johnny's. And it just
gold.
Just kills me. It just makes me laugh.
Yeah. No, I think that's probably the key to all of it is like it's the same thing with tattoos where you're like, I don't have an explanation for this. I just wanted it. I'm sorry it's not deeper. I hope you don't panic about how I'm going to feel about it when I'm older.
Yeah.
But I just liked it.
Yeah.
And so I had it done. And it isn't deeper than that. It's exactly that. The same way, same way with music. I'm like, I'd love to have a more intellectual discourse about this, but it just simply makes me happy.
Yeah.
I can feel it in my stomach and I can feel it in my heart when I'm around it. That's it.
We all have so much free time as a culture that we need to delve into why and how things like make us and stuff like that. And like that's essentially what podcasts are. I guess, but like it's like why'd you get that? Well, it's just I like penguins. It's like, but why? And then you have to start thinking of reasons why to facilitate this other person's inquiries.
And you know how you know that is catching on as a culture. One of the big growth industries in the United States, storage spaces.
Oh, I was just going to say that. Oh.
I
Loves all
honestly
that shit.
hate being easily scared. It's not a thing I like about myself. I wish I could overcome it, but like I enjoy sleeping though. I mean, I'm the kind of person that I'll get so scared I won't sleep for a week over something. I can't handle it.
Matt and I both love horror movies.
Yeah, I
love
wish
them.
I did.
Yeah.
I
But they
really
don't
do.
scare me.
Well, some do, but in the
But
way
not like
that,
in the way I enjoy.
right.
In the way, like, do you ever go? So you would never go to like Universal Studios Halloween?
No.
Oh, that's crazy.
No, I cannot.
I literally, that's my whole life. I enjoy October more than the rest of the year combined.
That's my Christmas.
And again, it's totally. I don't like it. I wish it wasn't the case, but yeah, it's. I can't. It's not something I easily forget. So it's like if something scary happens to me, as soon as I close my eyes, that's all I see. Or as soon as the lights go off, that's all I'll see for like weeks. Like it's not a thing where I go, oh, that happened and whatever. Like it just
replay it in
never
your mind.
leaves me. Yeah, it's so I can't even tempt that. I can't. There have been times where I'm like, oh, I'll just go and see what happens, and then like 2 seconds into a movie, I'm like, why am I doing this? I want to have a full night's sleep tonight and the rest of the month. I can't do this.
Is it because you live alone, or is it just it plays out in your mind?
No, I don't think it is because I mean, even like when I was married and stuff, like it was still a thing where my husband at the time he would go see. That's his thing to do alone. I'm like, have fun seeing the scary movies. I'm gonna stay here and
listen to Billy brag.
Yeah. Right. I'm not scared by the gaping class divisions in the world that he sings about. Yeah, it's just like something I could never handle. I just couldn't handle it. And maybe it is. I'm an only child, and so I did grow up alone, and I never. So yeah, so if my parents went out for the night, I was home alone, and maybe that was part of it.
How old were you when they left you alone?
Well, I became like a latchkey kid at 12, probably. Yeah, and probably a year before that, like they would leave me alone when they go out to dinner or do things.
I guess that's all right.
Yeah.
I'm judging your parents.
Oh, okay, okay. I think it turned out okay, guys. Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't tell you the one moment, though, where it's like, this is why I'm scared of it, other than the underwater thing, I guess, the swimming thing. But
yeah, they left me alone. They would go to dinner, and they would leave me alone in a lake.
In a lake, treading water until they got back.
They really wanted you to learn how to swim.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just too easily scared. And
although I will say that's how I learned how to skate.
Right.
I put out...
They pushed you out on...
Yeah, well, they put me in goal, and they would take shots on me, so I had to learn how to skate out of the way of the puck.
Really?
Not my parents, my brother.
Oh, okay.
But I will say that the thing, it's all irrational. Like, things that make other people scared, like, how the number one fear is, like, public speaking, right? Like, that isn't over. It really is. And to
I
me,
don't
I'm
have
like,
that fear.
That's what I'm saying. Like, all those kind of things. Like, I have zero.
Depending on the comedy club.
Yeah,
I have
exactly.
zero fear of that. I have zero social anxiety. I'll walk up to anybody and start talking to them. Like, all of those kind of things that, like, quote unquote normal people are scared of. I'm like, what? Who cares? And then it's like a fakey thing, like fakey vampires, and I'm like, what? Oh, I can't sleep. And you know what I'm saying? Like, it makes no sense.
I do have a fear. Like, I share your fear of, we're only about 3 missed meals away from barbarism.
Oh yeah.
You think it's that 3 meals?
Yeah, I think
missed meals?
around 3. It's gonna, big earthquake or power outage, just a multitudes. You miss about 3 meals,
and you start eating people.
No, but that's when you go over to your neighbors. Hey, you got anything in there?
Yeah. You're in there.
Yeah, that's when the social niceties start to fray.
Wow.
When you think about,
I didn't say cannibalism. I said barbarism.
Yeah. I mean, think about
I'm only 1 missed meal from cannibalism. I'm only 1 missed meal from cannibalism.
But
I'm that close at all times.
It has to be cooked right.
Yeah, I'm not saying I'm just going to gnaw somebody while they're alive. I'm going to...
I'm not an animal. I mean, while they're alive, I'm going to do them common courtesy.
I'm going to prepare it.
Yeah,
Yeah. I'll leave them a leg.
Yeah. I'm going to make something nice, mayhaps a stew.
Hold on, though. Is this something you just made up, or is that like an actual known statistic?
I think that's probably...
That's pretty close.
Yeah.
It's like, that's what everyone says. We're about 5 days from barbarism.
5
and
days.
when you think about
Look at New Orleans after Katrina, like how quickly that just went down.
Think about
to
a football game. When a football game happens and a team wins.
Even when a team wins and everybody loses their minds.
Go berserk and turn over cars.
Yeah. Think of what we don't know about what happened to those Chilean miners.
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah.
I'm guessing some of them were forced to make love.
To make love.
Yeah.
Well, at least it was sweet and gentle.
Underground cave love.
They have to.
You're my cave wife.
Here, bite on this coal.
Make love. I'm still tripping over you using that term.
That's why I don't want to go to prison. I don't want to have to make love against my will.
Make love with a gentleman in prison.
It'll be like that woman on that stairwell in San Francisco. I don't want to have to make love against my will.
Wait, what? Oh, the lady who was trying to get you guys to French?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't. You made it. You said French. I think she
That's
just
what she
to
wanted.
Peck
Yeah.
on the cheek.
Nah, she wanted more.
She wanted Frenching.
God.
Yeah.
Peck on the cheek. Nobody's paying admission to see that. She wanted Frenching.
Man. God, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I'm sorry. It just, the whole idea of it.
Yeah.
That is,
turns my
as a
stomach.
lady, though, that's like a thing.
Yeah. Well,
like,
let me just say,
I'm
Matt,
into it.
you're my friend, and I love you dearly. But the idea of that makes me throw up in my mouth a little bit.
Well, it would be a like a constant sort of exchange of vomit back and
oh
forth.
yeah.
That's all. Hey,
We
that's
would be
also
like
a fetish.
2 baby birds sharing a lunch. That's all we're doing.
That is also a
It would be
fetish.
sort of
I'm sure it is.
a vomit
check the
perpetual
internet.
motion machine.
Do you know that is a fetish with a name?
There's a fetish.
I know what snowballing is.
It's splooshing is like spilling food on each other and then fucking. Mm-hmm. But I don't think it's like regurgitating the food. I think
but
I think it's like the Who Sell Out album cover.
Do you have to
style.
pretend?
Nice pull on that. Nice, I like that.
Yeah.
I know some cool stuff.
Just Roger's segment.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, he's the only one in the beans.
Now I'm wondering if that's why they put the beans in the movie Tommy.
Is because of that like a callback to that? Wait, that came first.
No, the movie Tommy came much later.
Yeah. So
The movie
yeah,
Tommy
probably.
was like 74.
Then yeah, that's what I'm saying. The album came first, so yeah, probably.
Just thought.
Yeah, it's likely.
I'm afraid of what this is all leading to.
Oh, whatever.
Heinz baked beans, more music, more music, more music.
Whatever. I was just saying, whatever you could possibly conjure up in any situation with people doing anything remotely sexual is a
it's on
fetish.
that, yeah.
Like guaranteed on the internet, it's a fetish.
Yes. And I find that interesting in that the amazing technology immediately rockets down to the most prurient level.
Immediately.
You know, it's like we use this amazing tool for the most...
To find other people's boners.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, that's the internet. It's a boner machine. That's all it is. And like as a lady...
A very effective one.
Yeah, but
I'm going to give you a boner.
Yeah.
That's what the man who invented the internet thought.
The boner net
figured it out.
Instant boners at all times.
Al Gore
at
was
your
like, we've got to
fingertips.
find a new way to give people boners.
That's why everything's invented. I mean, that is, right? It totally is. But like, I'm on Flickr, right? And I've been on there for ages, this photo sharing site. And that is the most, like, I will post, especially as a girl on it, like on Flickr, you post a picture and then people can favorite it and like strangers can find it or whatever, just searching for keywords. I posted a picture, and again, it doesn't matter what it is. I posted a picture. It was like me and my friend laughing, and I'm laughing into my mouth that's like wide open. You can see all my fillings because I have like 1 million cavities. And I got a thing that was like, so-and-so added your picture to the group. And it was a group called like Women with Fill. It was like a sexual fetish group for women's fillings, women with cavities. Like that's a thing that dudes jerk off to. That's a real thing. I also had somebody, there was a picture of me doing stand-up and I'm like sweating and I got a thing that was like, so-and-so added your picture to the group female armpit sweat. I'm not lying. It's like, so it doesn't matter what you possibly think of. It's like somebody's jerking off to it.
Well, it's like the movie Fame. In the movie Fame, where Coco has to, she has to take her shirt off and she's crying because she's being degraded.
Right.
But yet, you know, this guy's running this camera on her. And I remember at the time when I watched it for the first time thinking, who wants to watch this? It's just some crying girl.
Oh, that's it. There's like entire websites.
I'm sure now.
There are like Tumblrs that are just ladies crying. And it's just
lady
all
crying.
pictures of women crying.
Oh.
Like that's also a fetish. Anything you could possibly think of is a fetish.
If I want to see a woman cry, I can get that pretty easily.
I can see it in person. Yeah.
Just go directly
I got 3 kids.
melancholymelons.com.
I have 3 young daughters. I have crazy women crying every 10 minutes. So they're crying because their sister won't share their iPad, right? Is that what this is all about?
The most recent one I got, again, not joking, was a guy who had added a picture of me to a fetish group for women who had their shirts tucked in. That's all it was. It was like ladies with shirts tucked in.
That makes
But I was wearing a plain.
That's hot.
If that's your fetish, you just must walk around with a perma boner because that's that's so normal of a thing to see.
Well, I know a guy who's been discussed on this podcast who cannot see women's feet.
Oh, because it
just sends him
such a
over
turn
the
on
moon.
for him.
Yeah.
Oh God. Sorry, buddy.
No, it's a friend of Rob Cohen's.
Feet are gnarly in all their forms. I can't.
Yeah.
That is.
They smell like Fritos.
They're. They do. Or scrambled eggs. I don't eat eggs because they smell like feet to me, and I can't deal with that.
Well, it's almost like the designer of your body. By the time it got to the feet, just went.
They're just like, who
"Fuck it."
cares? They're gonna be walking on them and sweating. So wait, so this guy,
I
this
in
guy's
college
like,
once said, "What?" Just sitting in his room, and my friend just went, "Why do my feet smell like rotten frogs?"
that's awesome, and also like fresh frogs smell that great anyway.
Oh, frogs! I'm phobic of frogs. I goddamn hate frogs.
Oh, gross.
I hate frogs.
But back to the guy. So if he's just like on, in public and a lady walks by with flip-flops on, he just can't handle it at all? Like, he needs to turn it the other way?
Yeah, I think he just gets a constant boner time.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Constant boner time. A kid show that never took off. Hey, kids, it's constant boner time. What?
That's why you're no longer...
Test pattern.
That's why you're no longer allowed to pitch anything at Nickelodeon.
Test pattern. Drunken cameraman. Technical difficulties.
So amazing. Constant boner time. Oh my God. But yeah, that must suck. I mean, imagine that. Imagine something so benign, like you see it and it's as if a naked lady is like right in front of you. That must suck. I mean, I do kind of feel badly for people who have weird, I mean, like, that's not even that weird, but
a compulsive fetish, and if you just have to seek it out all the time, that's slavery.
Yeah. Or if you have something, like you want somebody like furries or whatever, where it's like
easy.
I'm saying I feel bad because you have to like seek out other. I mean, that is a quest in and of itself. Is to like you got to go find somebody who's into this specific jam that you're into.
Well, again, the internet is.
Well, the internet obviously makes it a lot easier,
right.
Definitely, of course. But like, imagine pre-internet when you're like, look, the only thing that gets me off is if you dress up like a poodle, and
you're Ed Wood.
You do,
yeah,
like stuff like that. Like pre-internet, having to find that must have been such a drag.
Well, let's end it on this question.
Okay.
That will have to come back in a later podcast. And I'm going to pose it to you, Matt.
All right.
And for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, maybe get on Google. Matt.
Yes.
Furries must go crazy for Booska.
Booska!
This has been the Dana Gould Hour, brought to you by the Internet. Music by Andy Paley, with Jake Posner behind the board. Produced by Jeff Fox. Graphic design and web production by Spencer Hunt and Segan Friend. Sound editing and post-production by Jalinda Palmer and Joe Napolitano. Hey, if you like the show, why don't you drop us a line at show@danagould.com. Tom Kenny speaking.
I really do need the fucking money.